welcome everybody to episode 136 of Fat Kind of Little Pockets. Coming at you on a Tuesday.
The fifth day.
Why would you want a set schedule when we can just show up in your house, in your face, at any particular time?
Dude, we're like, and again, it's 110% my fault.
The ninjas of podcasts, we show up whenever we damn well please.
We lurk in the shadows of the...
We drink your beer, take off. So, of course, I'm the co-host, Steve, and always joined by
Charles is here.
And via satellite, how you doing, Bill?
What day is this today?
I don't know.
Get a
I'm
calendar,
confused.
folks.
I would tell you what the next episode is, but we don't even know. So we can't
We might
tell
be
you.
Tuesdays for a plug of time. I'm hoping.
Tuesdays for a plug of time. Now, that could mean for 2 weeks.
In
5
hotel
minutes.
terms, that means 2 weeks.
Don't you have seniority or something that you can
Dude,
start
we got
to-
no staff, son. That's the problem.
So this week, we're going to take a taste test on some cauliflower chips because Charles loves cauliflower. Yeah. I watched The Last Ride. BV seen it too. We got some more HBO movies. Maybe it breaks the trend. A couple of other things.
Preview The Last Ride real quick. The Last Ride was the
Undertaker,
Undertaker.
yes.
Heard of
Yeah, 5-part miniseries where he had a documentary team
Sounded
following
good,
around.
so I'll be curious to hear what you guys
Yeah,
thought about it.
I've actually seen half of what's on the reviews this week.
Oh,
Oh,
you see more
man,
than me.
Bill is-
I've only seen one thing.
Bill is rolling. Of course,
TV.
this past Sunday was Valentine's Day. I hope everyone got the diddle.
Especially Holly.
No, not Holly. So that we got all this
No
coming
blankets
up
in the Smoochie's house.
for you. Yeah, no blankets allowed at the Casca household. So also, I got some cancellations coming up from TV. Some are surprising, some not
I don't
so
think that
surprising.
I was looking at your list, and
Yes.
I think that some of them are cancellations, and some
Well,
of
they
them
still
just
got the
ran
season
their
left,
course.
and then it's
but
over.
I don't think they were necessarily canceled. As some of them, you call the network pulled the plug on them. Is what you're telling me. Okay,
Yeah. So
I
we'll find out. I mean, it was a pretty new article this past week. So,
Okay.
by the way, that's our research, internet articles. So if anybody ever wonders how we're experts, it's called
we
Google.
regurgitate Gizmodo and Engadget and
MSN sometimes. All right. Speaking of MSN and all that, this week our former president was acquitted. Is everyone excited or don't give two shits?
I told you, man. I've taken a backseat to all that. I don't care. I don't know. I don't watch. I don't care.
I thought it was a giant waste of time. He's already gone. Let him go. Let him disappear. And apparently, other people felt that same way because it ended up being. Billy, any thoughts on that with Trump?
You know, I'm kind of with Charles on this one. I just hope that we can finally stop talking about all this. Just try to go back to some kind of normal semblance of everyday life where we just hate political activity in the background. It's not smack in front of our face 24 hours a day. That would make me happy.
And also get back to where we're not wasting trillions of dollars. Like,
Yeah.
So we're bitching about like how much money it's going to cost to send people checks, yet we're literally jacking off hundreds of millions of dollars to go after this guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it doesn't. I don't know.
Waste of time and money. I said that from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Trump or anything. I just, why bother? Just let him go away.
It's because they got to secure shit, man. That's
Enough-
all it is.
Enough political financial skeet.
Yeah. So if you're wondering how to keep up on Trump, he has a social media backup now. It's called Parler. Is backup now.
Isn't
are
it
you familiar-
Parlay?
Parler,
I think it's
whatever. I always
Parlay.
call it Parler all the
I
time.
don't know what it is.
Parlay. They were shut down. All the big tech companies pulled everything out from under them. They had Amazon
I was
servers.
going to say it was AWS is the big one. It's Amazon
that
Web
hurt them the
Service.
most. Then all the app stores pulled their apps out.
Let me pause for a second. How much? So basically, all of retail is through Amazon now, as BV gets every taste test except for this week's, ironically enough. But I'm just saying, I'm just as guilty. I can't even have Prime, but I got a million Alexas. How much of Amazon Web Service does the web? I mean, realistically, like if you were to make a pie
don't know
chart,
if it's that, probably
what do you
40%,
think? It's
40 to
got to
50,
be like
yeah.
40 or 50%.
A
Like,
lot of big companies moved over to their servers.
it is
as soon as they started doing
crazy the amount of web, and it's one of those things that like I don't think a lot of people realize that that's a huge backbone to.
Well,
that.
Microsoft's got a pretty big chunk with their servers and stuff like that too. So they
I feel like a lot is on AWS. I don't know. It's crazy.
I haven't researched. I probably should. It's my line of work. But
I'd be curious. We can have a conversation later.
maybe we'll bring it back
out there.
whenever we have our next show.
Yeah.
On a Monday,
Next
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll be on a day that ends in Y. So just watch for that, and we'll talk about that. But Parler was a big deal. Everyone thought freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. I thought, I don't agree with the people on there and the right-wing stuff, but it was kind of shitty that they just yanked. They didn't even give them a warning. They just yanked everything out from under them. But now they're back up and good to go. So now...
let me play devil's advocate again.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, they can always hide behind the fact that your hate speech and is organizing terror in the country. That's all they have to... So basically, they can go after you. You can't use Twitter and Facebook to organize a bunch of idiots to get together and attack the governor of the state of Michigan. So, that's not your right, and the service doesn't have to give you a platform with which to incite drama in the country. And that's what I think is so... I get the point of, it's free speech in America and all this kind of stuff, but if you're using it to organize hate-filled rhetoric and all this kind of stuff, they don't have to give you that platform, is what I find so weird. There's, this big Republican push where it's this is people's right. We've had a conversation multiple times.
You could argue that it wasn't all hate speech. I mean, there's some on there, obviously.
No,
but
I'm not
you had to tell me everyone on Parler, whatever the hell they were, were all white supremacist hate speech groups.
I'm not saying that they were, but
so
if you can prove a thread of disorganization and especially with the Capitol riot stuff and all, if you can say, hey, look, they used your platform to organize this hate-filled, attack on the government. It's not reaching to say we can pull the plug on you if someone's using it for that. And like you said, maybe that's a small percentage, but all they got to do is point to that percentage and be no one's guaranteed the ability to do anything. It's a weird thing to me. It goes back to with the GameStop stuff and how we talked about how all of a sudden the hedge funds are crying for regulations and stuff like that. You can't, because during a lot of this, Republicans are using certain things in their arena to go back and forth. They hate. It doesn't make any sense. Everyone's pushing their own agenda based on what services their stuff is. What I don't know. I just got issues with it.
Yeah. So, are you referring to the Gina Carano stuff as well?
Yeah, I'm just talking about all that stuff. You're not.
They
they don't have to. It's like BB was talking about back when the Costco people were after Costco because they were forcing you to wear a mask. Well, it's not in the Bill of Rights that you get to shop at Costco.
Yeah,
it never was. And
George Washington, make sure you put in that Costco stuff.
And then if your service is you could see if I had a server and Steve organizes a Klan rally on my server, I don't have to continue to let Steve organize a Klan rally on my server. I don't get the mentality there. I don't have to let you do something on my stuff. I don't have to let you come into my store. It's a really weird thing. I don't know, but everyone's pushing an agenda nowadays. It's so hard.
That is true.
People have a real misunderstanding. I don't think it's a misunderstanding when the politicians get involved. This is just self-indulging sort of manipulation of the facts. Free speech, getting past the argument about whether or not Trump as the president of the United States actually, that whether he's protected in that case from using hate speech but freedom of speech, as Charles very, very aptly put here, does not give you the right to make that speech on any and every forum imaginable. It doesn't give you a platform. It doesn't mean that private organizations that provide forums are required to let you make the speech or continue to let you go forward. Yeah. They have the right to walk into the same Costco we were talking about, or Costco, and start giving a political speech and they didn't like the fact that you were doing it or you didn't like the content.
There's a guy who did that and got arrested.
It's a private institution.
Yeah, they don't have to, and I don't have to give you the ability to, like I said, Twitter's got to let me out. No, Twitter doesn't have to let you do shit. I mean, what are we talking about? This whole mentality of it's cancel culture. No, they could do with whatever they want to with their stuff. I don't know. It's a weird mentality.
Cancel culture's allowed. It might be annoying to a lot of people, but You can't stop it. Just like the whole, and I didn't see exactly what Gina Carano did. I just kind of caught a blurb on this, but okay, if she makes statements or likes things and or likes certain statements in
Disney's got to still have her on there. BV.
She is not immune to the repercussions that come from the people that patronize these media like Disney Plus and other that say, look, we're not going to purchase your product if it's just like Tiger Woods wasn't entitled to keep all of his endorsements when he had the issue with Elin and his extramarital affairs.
It's such a weird mentality.
Yeah, if the public says, look, we're just not going to buy or watch your product anymore, they're going to act accordingly, and she's not immune to that, and she shouldn't be.
Well, and Republicans love to throw at you that like right to work and all this like contract stuff. You know, like with the Gina Carano thing, and we're kind of blurring lines between the two topics, and I get that, but like you're not guaranteed a job. Like they don't have to keep you employed. Like they don't have to no, you're going to keep Gina Carano.
Like, I don't know is any of us three were assholes at our job, and we're like, if I was on Facebook or you were on Facebook every day, just tearing up the hotel, the place you work for every day, and you got let go, no one would question that. Like, well, he was an asshole to him for like a month.
Somehow Gina Carano.
They warned her multiple times, like back
shut
in
your
November,
mouth, shut your
up,
mouth, yeah.
or just put out. Here's a printed apology. Put it on your thing. She said no, so she knew she was on.
Live with the repercussions, right? Yeah.
Now they will argue. Now, like
who's
I said,
the they you're referring to? The right wing?
Yes,
or something like
they
that?
will argue. Especially Gina Carano, her co-star Pedro Pascal or whatever his name is liberal. But he posted some Nazi reference stuff too, but it kind of formed so it looked like the Republicans were Nazis instead of the Republicans being the victims. So it's kind of they argue it's a double standard. Like long as you do their political view on the social media, they don't care.
Yeah, but a company can choose to do that.
I know.
Like what I find, like what BV's
arguing.
referring to is BV is saying that like Disney's not beholden to like a government that has to appease both sides of the aisle. If Disney's like, hey, I'm with this theory, I'm not with your theory, they don't have, you can't you can't say, no, Disney, you have to let equal representation on both of these. No, Disney can be like, we're not aligned with that thought. It's a weird mentality in 2021. Is all I
have no sympathy for her. She was warned. When you were warned and still do it, okay, you're a dummy. You're fired.
That's
has anyone ever heard of the term at-will employment?
Yeah, and but a Republican will throw that at you. Like that's what BV's bringing up is the state of Michigan. A big thing was they brought in that mentality under Snyder and all this, and people were freaking out. But the Republicans pushed for that. But when it's used against a Republican, the Republicans get pissed. You got to pick a way. I don't know, man.
And now she's going to make a movie with Ben Shapiro, I guess.
Well, but
no one's going to
speaking
watch that.
of Michigan, though, here's
My Pillow guy is going to produce.
Yeah, My Pillow guy and Ben Shapiro going to make a movie with Gina Carano. No one's going to watch that.
We got to review it.
To point the hypocrisy out, though, even further, like he points out this, about at-will employment, right? Republicans, and I'll be the first one to admit this because I was behind it for frickin' 25 years, right? They used when things like the right to work laws kicked in, and were brought in Michigan that required you to reap the benefits of, allowed you to reap the benefits of the union without actually having to join it or pay dues, or whatnot. That those terms like concepts like at-will employment, right to work, had been used mostly by conservatives to undermine the power and control of unions for decades. So now to flip it around and state that that shouldn't apply here is, I mean, it's ridiculous.
A load of bullshit.
Yeah, it's what it boils down to, and it just goes to show you. We've talked at length on this show. Like, I think that reason's somewhere in the middle is what it always boils down to. Someone's in the middle where it's like, yeah, I get, like you're saying, but the Pedro Pascal guy kind of said some shit, and that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Like, you didn't have an issue there, but, that's not cool, but it's also not,
he's also the star. He's not a former MMA girl with a bit part too, so
correct.
You also got what the Rock used to say. You got to know your roles. You gotta know.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what your name is. Bitch, you unemployed with Ben Shapiro.
It's a weird thing, man. But back to the whole parlay or parlor, whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
Still don't
they're
know what
like,
exactly
how
it is.
dare Amazon pull the? Well, if you're
And
spreading
again, the double
something
standard thing, they'll say, well, there's probably left-wing website on Amazon servers
web
that are
server,
making Antifa fucking protests together, and there's probably porn sites and gambling sites and everything else on the servers, but we're the ones that get singled out. I'm just telling you what they were.
I get you, but again, reason's somewhere in the middle, and if this company aligns with that thought and hates your thought, it's their shit.
My thing with the parlor, they should have been prepared for this. They should have had backup servers. They should have had major
listen
sites.
to the IT guy. Listen to Steve.
Especially if you knew you're pushing this right wing
Listen,
stuff.
man, the Steve needs a job right now.
They should have. They kind of should have foreseen some of
Contact
this.
Steve at VR Metro.
yes.
He will gladly walk you through.
I'm just saying.
And if you ever actually read something called terms of service,
you get
these companies reserve the right to basically cut you off for any reason or no reason at all. That they're like, and there's not anything you can do about it.
And not whatever, to BV's point just now, this is why I still have CDs and stuff, because like you don't own digital there's no such thing as digital copyright. You know what I mean?
I got a lot
shit.
of digital movies, and one day
someone just pulls the plug.
Pissing match with Movies Anywhere, I'd be like.
And then, and to BV's point, Steve, you know what's bullshit? Like, you never actually owned it. You know, it's crazy.
So, also going on, the vaccines are still a clusterfuck.
Wait, so you're telling me the vaccine rollouts, even under Biden, hasn't gone smoothly? This is
no,
shocking.
It's a total clusterfuck. If you have Pfizer stock, it's not going up. I'll tell you that much. And
the best part is I read an article every other day how they're like, we're going to ship 2 billion units.
Yeah,
I was like, well, who's getting them?
Yeah, nobody. They're shipping them to Alaska. I don't know where they're going.
The only place they can stay cool enough.
Yeah, so... And now, of course, we got basically every state in America got hit with snow and ice this week.
Oh, my God.
So,
Texas is beside itself.
They don't know what to do. So a lot of vaccines being scheduled. There were supposed to be 38,000 coming to Michigan at one point. They didn't come. They didn't show up. That in the city of Detroit, I think it was. So they had to cancel 38,000 appointments. That's not 10 or 20. 38,000 appointments were canceled.
Well,
it's a clusterfuck right now.
You know, your boss, and to his right wing Tucker Carlson credit, he said like his problem is he doesn't trust the government to handle a lot of stuff. Gotta tell you, he's looking pretty smart when it comes to this one, man. You can't argue with it. Again, that's where that logic's in the middle on that. Like, yeah, it's kind of a cluster.
So if you're middle age, you might be getting a vaccine in 2024.
It's funny. I had the conversation. You hit up today about travel, so then that made me have a conversation with my wife. She happens to be an educator. She got her first shot. Your wife got hers, being in healthcare, whatever. And I go, we're never going to be able to travel because I'm never going to get vaccinated. I don't know when that's going to come, man. I have no idea.
I'm just going to risk it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you roll them dice. Man.
Yeah. So now here's another interesting thing. And Charles, in 8 years, that little rodent you have of a daughter is going to be driving.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen? Your insurance is going to go to the roof, like mine did.
What kind of numbers? Like, what? Give us the numbers of pre-Holly licensed driver in your household to post-Holly license. And you're going to be specific because I know you probably lied and claimed something different.
Huh? No, we went up about $1,000. So I didn't
annually.
A year.
Yeah, okay. A year. So you talking about $80 a month, give or take, something like that?
And I got that bill and I was like, woo! So I have an independent insurance agent that's one of our clients.
Okay.
And I called O'Brien up and I said, hey, bro, Bryant Insurance Agency, by the way, B&A Insurance.
Oh, man.
He'll cut you. He looks for, he's a little shady, but he'll get you some deals.
Okay, you might not want to end with that.
But no, I'm just kidding.
We're going to get pulled off Amazon Web Services.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, he's like, well, let me send my girl on it and we'll look at it. So we're Liberty Mutual. It's a form of Liberty Mutual.
Liberty.
Yeah, it's not Liberty, but it's like a branch. They all have these branches.
Limu Emu.
Yeah, I just spit on your mic.
And Doug.
Yeah, so what they gave Holly was an app to put on her phone, and then she had to take an online class.
Damn, that sounds like her journey. I'm saving money.
Yeah, it ended up saving me. It went from $1,000 to $600.
Still $50 a month as opposed to 80.
Yeah,
It's significant.
So
We're always talking about pinching pennies on streaming services. So $30, you're like, okay, I'm doing that.
I told her, sit down, take that class, get that on your phone.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, pay your insurance.
Yeah.
She's like, okay. But what I didn't know with the app, it tracks her while she drives, even as long as her phone's on. And if it tracks.
So she had to put it. So I want to slow you down for a second.
Okay.
So she had to put a weird emu app on her phone.
Yes.
And now, does she have to do anything in the app when she's driving or behind the
no,
wheel?
just as long as her phone's on.
As long as her phone's on, it's probably sniffing in the background to see her velocities and all this kind of stuff, and any hard driving, probably gyroscoping something.
Yeah,
or other.
and
Okay.
it gives you a point range. So long as she's 80 or above, they keep my discount on insurance. She starts dropping below 80, get down to 70, my insurance starts going back
Oh
up.
my God, that's tough, dude.
Yeah.
It's like the stock market over here.
Yeah, but she's been doing good, and so good that I guess if you stay above 80 for so long,
Even with her terrible, like, doesn't swerve on a pothole and
will you shut the hell up?
No, sorry.
You try to ruin my discount.
Yeah.
I don't get a discount double check from fucking
yeah, true.
Aaron Rodgers. But so if she drives good for so long, we just found this out. In the mail, she got an Amazon gift card for $10.
Okay.
So if you do such good driving for so long and you have it on
kick
your
her
phone,
benefits kind of
they'll
thing.
kick you some benefits. So, yeah, there you go. Just parents out there, when your kids turn 16,
So you had
your insurance going to skyrocket.
Yeah, so you
now I know why
already-
Dad made us pay for it.
For real. But previous to her actually getting licensed, you had all 3 cars on your insurance policy.
Yes.
So as soon as she got licensed, your shit jacked up a G. Or
And
just
the,
shy of
the
it.
other move they told me, don't report her. So
I don't think you can do that, though.
I did
right?
it.
And how quick
So
until they
she got her
found it?
license in June. They found out by October is when they hit me.
Yeah, so you had a few months.
Yeah, I got a few months. Not like back in the day. Everything's computerized now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I guess when we were 16, you could let it slide for a year or two before they caught on.
Yeah.
Not now.
You got to have full coverage. You got PLPD no fault on the
I just
Honda.
got basic. on
Yeah,
the
like
Honda.
keep it on the road kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll leave the keys.
I was
in
like,
the
you
shoe
wreck
rack.
it, you just leave it there.
yeah.
You
Get
know
that
that.
scrap value.
Yeah, Bill's familiar with that. Oh, his old hoopties.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. But do you only pay for what you use?
Yeah, well, no. So there you go. A little look at the insurance and how much you get to cry as a parent when those bills come rolling in.
God forbid she hits someone. Holy shit.
Can you fucking not jinx me right now?
I'm just saying, man.
So now we got a taste test that we found at Fresh Time Market. BV also found these. The big health kick, Oprah Winfrey's big on this. It's in pizza and stuff. Cauliflower is the new power vegetable that everyone loves. And they're making it into everything.
Have you tried a cauliflower pizza crust?
I did. I tried it at Jets, and they burnt it. That didn't help.
Okay.
But it wasn't that bad.
I have an issue. Let me ask BB, have you had it? Have you had a
Not
cauliflower?
the pizza crust, but I have had cauliflower rice on a number of occasions, and I like that quite a bit.
Is the Chipotle one? Have you tried the Chipotle one by chance?
Michelle
No,
has.
haven't.
And what does she think?
She liked it.
Okay, I might.
But she goes. My wife wants to be a spokesperson for cauliflower.
Okay.
Because we don't eat it a lot at home. All right.
I'm not a fan.
I just
Very
don't buy
grainy.
a giant head of cauliflower and eat it. We're
Coated in cheese, though.
broccoli, green beans, asparagus kind of family is what we are. So when we do eat cauliflower, she makes a huge thing out of it. She's probably listening right now. Oh, this cauliflower's so good. This cauliflower rice. I just want to bathe in it. So
She's rubbing herself.
before I
with
came on the podcast.
they're an odd color. First
Yeah,
of
yeah,
all,
they
kick
are.
those over to that main so people can see
So
that.
before I came to the podcast, we bought 2 bags of these. So Michelle's like, "Let me try my bag before you go."
Yeah.
And of course she ate it and was like, "It's heaven in my mouth. It's so delicious." So anything cauliflower.
She works for the cauliflower.
Oh my God, she's used cauliflower stock.
So let's get the name out
She's
there.
gonna hate me when I get home.
So this is called real food from the ground up. Must be the brand.
You don't find these at Kroger or anything. These are at these
Yeah.
weird specialty
Holiday
markets.
fresh market. You called it? What did you
Fresh
call it?
market.
Fresh market.
Yeah.
Fresh
Fresh
time.
Time Market.
Fresh Time Market.
BB's
yeah.
got us. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not a wet market.
They're also found on Amazon.
Oh,
Amazon's got
BB
everything.
loves that. All right. So first of all, they got a weird look to them. They almost look like a potato skin.
Yeah.
They're a vegan product.
The color's not consistent either. Like it's darker in some areas than others.
No, if you didn't tell me, I wouldn't know it's made out of cauliflower.
Tastes like a Pringle.
Yeah.
Got a Pringle / it's like a It's like a Pringle and a veggie straw had a baby.
Have you ever had the
pretty good.
Munchos?
Yes.
I love a Muncho. Yeah, it's got a
They
Muncho vibe.
kind of remind me of like a healthy Muncho.
Yeah, that's pretty tasty.
How many calories are these?
140 for 28 grams. That's probably 16 chips. I think they're pretty tasty. I don't know. I'll be honest
not
with
bad at
you.
all.
I don't work for the cauliflower board like your wife does. BB's digging on them.
Yeah, they're good.
Full disclosure, I don't like sour cream and onion chips.
What?
I don't.
Are you
Never have.
serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. Like the
Why?
green bag, I don't know. I just never liked the flavor. Weird, I
Tommy.
like chip dip.
What'd you say, BB?
I called them a commie.
I just
Yeah,
never
they're
been a
good.
big sour cream and but I mean those are good.
Yeah, it's
I would probably get what's the one Bill just vomited. I don't know what happened. He vomited.
Oh man.
Bill died from eating cauliflower.
I mean, cut to him so on YouTube we can show his death. Oh my God, is he
I
choked? Do you
took a
need the
drink and
hind?
it went down the wrong way.
Oh wow.
Well,
So I gotta tell you, this is pretty tasty. That's a good chip. I'd eat this whole bag.
You can keep it. We got another bag at home.
No,
Let Lorna and Heather try them.
I'm gonna munch on those throughout the show. So if I'm crunching into the mic, people, I apologize.
So, what was the other flavor you got, Bill? Was it sea salt?
sea salt. Yeah.
I would probably go with the sea salt one if I was going to pick one.
What's your issue with
They
sour cream
also-
and onion?
I don't know. I've never liked it.
That's crazy.
They did have a salt and vinegar too, but
Ew, not a fan of that.
I mean,
I love salt
Oh,
and
let me
vinegar
cut to
chips.
Steve
but
picking in his mouth. So the
they're
camera's-
stuck in my teeth.
All right, so Steve, what do you think of from the ground up cauliflower chips, sour cream and onion, a vegan product, no real sour cream on there,
I liked it, but I would probably get a different flavor.
not your flavor. So
Not
you're
my
not holding
flavor.
you're just
I'm
like
not
a
holding the flavor against
Yeah.
it because I knew that going in. I wasn't going to like sour cream. So a 7 out of 10. It's
Yeah.
an all right chip. $3.50 a bag. is a
That's
little
the
steep.
problem. Yeah. BV, what do you got? What do you got?
I have to say, having had a number of sort of vegan chips, or
Yeah,
chip
you are the
substitutes, this is by far the best I've had.
Oh wow.
This is really good. I'd say, especially considering the fact that it's not a real chip. I'd give it a good 8 out of 10. I do like sour cream and onion chips, although not my favorite. I would love to try this in barbecue.
Ah,
Oh, I didn't see barbecue on the
I
show.
like a good barbecue
No, I
chip.
don't think they have it in barbecue, but
Yeah.
yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah, and I'm going to echo BV's 8. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I also come to realize as I get older, I have a chip preference. Weirdly enough, I like a formed chip, like a Pringle or something that's not a true slice off of a chip that they like press the flakes into it and make it. You know what I'm talking about? Like
yeah.
how this is. I love it. I don't know what's going on with that as I get older, but I just
As
can't.
I get older, I love kettle chips.
Well.
Though the extra crunch on those kettle chips, I do love some kettle chips. And Kroger's usually has these big bags, like 2 for $5 or something, on sale all the time. I get the sea salt and I forget the jalapeno. I like the jalapeno one.
The one thing I will say is it's obviously not healthy. 140 calories. It's not
You
healthy.
think they're deep fried?
I bet you they are.
Deep fried in vegetable oil?
Yeah, they gotta be.
They're
Yeah,
probably,
I mean, I got a bunch of oils on the back. Sunflower oil says this number. Cassava, sunflower oil. So it's got to be deep fried.
yeah.
But it's got a similar. It's definitely like a veggie straw because it's even got like the same thing, like broccoli, spinach, all that stuff's in it. Yeah, it's got to be like a veggie straw thing. I think it's good. Problem is, you're going to pay a douche tax to get it because you bought it at a fancy
it's only
market.
I've never seen it at Kroger's or
$4 a
Meijer's.
bag.
Yeah, that's a pretty pricey bag of chips. But you catch them on sale, or if you're at the checkout or something, from the ground up cauliflower chips, give them a shot.
There you go. So not all the time. We don't always eat greasy stuff. Every once in a while, it's vegan.
Yeah, we tried with that Atkins bar with the swing and a
Oh,
miss.
God, that Atkins bar.
BB, did you finish those Atkins bars?
No, no, I did not.
Handed those to Abby.
They got shocked.
I think Michelle ate half of one when I got home that night, and she was like, "This is terrible."
It's that texture, man.
So what she loves, and why we go to that Fresh Time Market, it's these little oatmeals. They're called Mush. They were on Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. Yeah,
They
those
sell-
are overnight oats, aren't they? Aren't they overnight oats?
I
Is
don't
what
know
they're
the hell
considered.
they are. I know they sell them at that market in all the different, like they have them at Meijer's, but they only have like two
Select.
flavors at
Oh,
Meijer.
okay.
There they have the variety, and she loves the apple cinnamon one. So But it's like a little thing like this big.
Like $4.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Crazy.
Douche tax on those.
I want to
too.
say Mark Cuban's the one that popped on those too.
Oh,
I think
is he?
Mark
Is he the
Cuban's
one?
the
Yeah,
one that got
he
one.
did.
Is that right,
Well,
BV? Yeah.
He got Michelle with those because she's all. That's why we end up going there.
Well,
It's the damn mush.
Or do you eat
oatmeal.
those hot or cold? How do you eat those?
I think she warms them up. She warms all her oatmeal up.
The next time you go, let's have a taste of some mush. I've never had one.
You know, honestly, I've never tried it either.
Yeah, maybe we'll do
Michelle,
a
if you're
mush.
listening,
Yeah. Pick us up some mush.
Pick up. Tell us what is the best mush to eat. All right, so we'll bring those back next time when I'm in one of my many trips to Canton.
You gotta let BB know early so we can get it from Amazon.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
if he
sure I
has
can get
fresh,
that from Fresh Time too. So,
yeah, if he's got fresh time as well.
Yeah.
So
I've got 2 of them.
So that's obviously a chain. I've never heard of this. Fresh. Is it a regional chain or what is this?
well, they're in
Fresh Time
Chicago
Market?
and Canton.
Yeah, it must be a regional type thing.
Is it in the high end suburbs in Chicago?
The places I've seen them are in nicer suburbs. I'm sure
Yeah,
they're in other
they're not in
places,
the
too.
Taylor. Is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. You can't get them in Taylor, Tucky. I'm not ripping on Taylor, Tucky. I live there. So,
He's allowed to.
so it's just,
Yeah.
I'm a realist. So in 2020, 2021, one of the big trends was big sports documentaries, right? You had the Michael
Last
Jordan
Dance is
one,
still
the
last year
Dance,
was great.
And then you had the Tiger Woods one, right?
Yeah.
Now recently we've also had Britney Spears, but that's a little off the.
Can you guys does anyone know what's going on with that? Like Justin Timberlake oddly had to come out and apologize.
Apparently, they
and
all
stuff?
realized in the early 2000s
that they were shitty to her.
Everyone shit on Britney Spears.
that what it was?
And now everyone just now realized this 19 years later.
Oh man, I was a dick to her. Sorry, Brittany.
Yeah.
Like, cause somehow like her dad's in charge of her. I don't know the whole story.
She's back in the. When's the last time she put out a song? Why is she?
She's
so
got that
long?
residency in Vegas that's very popular.
Yeah, all over Planet Hollywood when we were there. I think it's Planet Hollywood. Yeah. So of course, not to miss the boat, Vince McMahon said, "Let's do it with Mark Callow." And for all you non-insiders, that's the Undertaker. And this is called The Last Ride on the WWE Network. It's 5 episodes long, an hour each episode. I'll give you my impression. Then I want to hear Bill's. It was pretty good, but the Yokozuna one was way better. This one, Charles, I'm going to talk to you. You're going to tell me, I really want to retire, but I just got plunged at one more toilet. I got this need.
You have no idea the calling that
yes,
I have.
you have a calling.
Dude, it's just I can't turn it off.
Now do
It's
that
like
for-
it keeps me up at night. That one last toilet, I got to just get over the hump.
Yes.
You know?
Now do that same interview 5 times for an hour. And that's what I felt. I mean, so it starts about 4 or 5 years ago. He hires a crew. They're following him around. And he's doubting himself all the time because he's old. He's 54, 55.
I mean, Taker's been wrestling a long
wrestling
time.
30 years.
Yeah.
They don't cover much of his life story, really. It's just more of currently where he's at. And then every time he'd have a match at WrestleMania or whatever, and it won't live up to his expectations. So then
He missed something all the time.
yeah, or it just didn't go quite as well as he wanted it to. So he doesn't feel like it should be his last match. And then they show his wife and him talking about it all year and him rehabbing and getting whatever surgery it is he gets.
How's his wife? Is his wife hot? Curiously,
Former
enough?
wrestler Michelle McCool, tall blonde lady.
I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
Is he a
been-
Texas guy too?
Yeah, big Texas guy. A lot of Texas wrestlers. And it basically it's rinse and repeat every episode until finally the last episode where he wrestles that terrible match with AJ Styles that me and Bill hated.
That was the cinematic one, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And that's the one he's happy with. So, Bill, did you come away differently than I did on that, or what did you think?
Well, for once, I'm going to agree with you in that they could have done this, and I think just as effectively in maybe a 2-part or a 2-hour documentary.
Thank you.
They did they dragged it out a lot, and they focused a lot on his inability to kind of step away from the spotlight, and particularly like leaving on what he felt was good terms with himself, like feeling like he could still go. He kept talking about having that one last match that was something that he could feel okay leaving. Like he didn't want to go out. Sort of reminded me about, remember when Charles Barkley blew his knee on his career, where he came back for like one game because he didn't want to go out on his injured. Kind of that was, he was looking for that one match where he wanted to be able to have something that was representative of what he could be proud of and then walk away. they could have condensed it. There were some interesting parts to it, though. I thought some of the detail they went into on his hip surgeries and all that were pretty interesting.
Because you don't know much about they veiled his career quite a bit.
He did it himself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And they talked about it on Rogan, and having heard it, it makes sense. He doesn't really do interviews. You don't really know much about the actual man that played The Undertaker.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible. There's good nuggets in this. It's just at 5 hours.
It's a lot of digging to get to those nuggets.
And it was like him and he's like Daisy. Daisy, get out of the window. No, Daisy has to go to the window. He has to come back in WrestleMania. It's just how it is.
Yeah. And they chronicled. I mean, he basically had someone following him like the last, we'll call it, year of his career. So they chronicle just like one piece at a time. So you get, and actually to me that was kind of the frustrating part, right? Because you go, he all these years where he keeps his life very, his character very in the front, and he's, for probably good reason, made a point not to let people in, and then suddenly you don't get to know him at all until right at the very end, and he's suddenly struggling with all these different things, and you didn't really get to see. It didn't do a very good job of letting you into what he was like the entire time. It was basically just, here I am, I'm kind of broken down, but I still, every great once in a while, I'll come back for a match. And he showed, I thought it was kind of cool how they showed him preparing for, because he would almost like preparing for a big fight,
for like an hour before every match.
Yeah, he would go into he'd go into like a training camp really for one match, because he's only wrestled like maybe once a year,
and his body couldn't handle more than that.
Yeah, so I mean that part was interesting, but it's one of those things that you get nothing his entire career, and then suddenly 5 hours of this struggling with the decision to leave and how to make it happen. And I thought it could have been done effectively within 2 episodes, no more than 3 hours max. Probably like 2 hours would have been probably a good sweet spot. And I agree. I think overall I like the Yokozuna documentary better, because it gave you a more complete picture. Mm-hmm. If you were going to get 5 hours of Undertaker, I would have wanted to see 5 hours of Undertaker, the entire product, not 5 hours of this last year of dealing with his own, like career mortality and his body breaking down and how he's going to live with not being in the spotlight anymore. Yeah. So, but I mean, other than that, but there were some good parts to it. I mean, it was worth watching, I guess, but
I don't want to derail your guys' conversation, but I have a question for the two of you wrestling fans here.
It's wrestling.
It's wrestling. It's real to Steve, damn it. Is the Undertaker on your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling characters?
It's funny.
Who are those people on Steve and
So
BB's
you're talking
character?
4 people, right?
I'll give you 4 of that have to be on there. As far as your opinion, this is
my opinion. I mean, you got to put Hulk Hogan on there just because.
No doubt.
I mean, Jesus Christ,
right?
You got to put Ric Flair on there. He was the underground. If you weren't a WWE fan through 80s and 90s, he was the only other guy.
He was the
knew.
yin to the yang of kind of.
It was like him and the Road Warriors. Everyone knew those guys, and maybe Sting. Anybody else outside WWE is like, who the fuck are these people? Except for Bill, he knew them all. He knew them all. So you got to put those 2 on immediately.
Okay. So you got for 3 and 4,
and then you got to put on Austin, right?
You're gonna put Austin on your Rushmore?
You got to, because he made it explode again. If it wasn't for him, we're not sitting around on Mondays wrestling each other in the living room, right? And then I don't know if I'd rotate. It's hard to decide.
You get a 4th one. Come on.
I know. This is the
Sophie's choice.
So it's like Rock or Shawn Michaels. I'd probably go Rock because he had more mass appeal outside of wrestling as well. I was going to say. But Shawn Michaels is pretty close.
You think Shawn Michaels is equal to The Rock?
You're just talking wrestling.
I'm just talking about your Mount. This is Steve's opinion.
Yeah.
This is your opinion.
I mean, Shawn Michaels, if you love him or hate him, and I hated his fucking main move. It was a kick to the face. It was the dumbest thing ever.
Chin music, baby.
Sweet chin music. That one and the mandible claw are my most hated main move. He sticks fingers in your mouth. Are you kidding me? But, I mean, you got to admit, that guy doesn't put on very many bad matches. I mean, the guy's very entertaining. But I'd probably go with Rock over Shawn Michaels. So there's my 4, I guess.
What do you got, BV, for your top 4 Mount Rushmore? Do you have anything different to add?
Oh, well, yeah, I do, because although to me, but to me, it's kind of some of this depends on what you're going for, right? So I would say that to answer your question about the Undertaker, if we're talking about sort of greatest characters or gimmicks of all time, I think he probably makes the cut.
Yeah.
But if I'm taking the 4 greatest wrestlers of all time within that industry, I don't think he makes it. And I don't think it's even close. I think I agree with Steve. Hogan and Flair, basically from 2 different angles, took wrestling into the modern area, made it is what it possible to be what it is today. So from there, see, I would go a little bit different. Like Steve's list was very 1980s forward centric.
Yeah.
I would say I don't have a problem. No, I don't have a problem with Austin, because I think Austin, while he didn't have the longevity at the top that a lot of guys did, and so you could make the argument that he had probably the single hottest run of any wrestler in the history of wrestling. So it's kind of hard to discount. I mean, in his little 4 or 5 year run, he was about as big as you could possibly be. So I guess I could agree with putting Austin there, although you could make arguments for others. The 4th one is kind of tough, though. Shawn Michaels had a long career, and it was, I mean, obviously good. He's one of the best performers and whatnot ever. But would I put him in over someone like, and I'm going to get a little bit historic here, someone like Bruno Sammartino? Do you want to go real far? Do you want to go
This is BV's list.
Do you want to
go
go further back and someone like a Lou Thez or a Gorgeous George or a...
Who does BV think is worthy to be in that 4th head? Is what I'm asking. I'm giving you that 4th head spot for BV. Steve told you it's Shawn Michaels, the HBK. What are you going for that 4th spot?
I actually went with
Rock. I'm torn.
Oh, you went with Rock.
Honestly.
I'm torn.
It's going to be. I think
it's hard.
I think at the end of the day, I would make that call between either Bruno Sammartino or
it's a hard decision, or Bob Backlund.
No, come on now.
So
Ken Patera.
No, you know what?
He's had a worse choice, like picking out firstborn's name.
I think I'd
Butch
probably
Reed.
put Sammartino on there because he was wrestling in a certain area for
when
decades.
nobody was watching.
Yeah, you guys
except
are
for
both
drunk people
wrong.
at Madison
All right,
Square Garden.
Modern era. If we're gonna go
No,
modern,
it's just
modern
it's
era.
list. You can do
Oh,
what
if
you
I'm gonna
want.
go, no. If I go modern era, I'm still not putting Shawn Michaels 4th.
What about The Rock?
He's struggling with this.
My bad. I'm actually putting some thought into this, so I'm an asshole. I don't know if
just say the Miz and let's move on.
It's fine. Just leave it.
Andre the
San
Giant.
I'm done. Fine.
San Martino. All right.
The Miz didn't have the longevity.
I didn't want to derail you guys, but I just didn't know. So what are you guys giving the last ride on the WWE Network? What do you got? Give it a number out of 10.
There was some nuggets in this that I didn't get to say. Like, they really cover how much of a friend he is with Vince McMahon. Like, McMahon treats him like a son, like the two of them. And they show
I thought
that
there's
a
more
lot.
the Triple H role.
Yeah, well, yeah, but,
No, I'm asking a question. I thought that
What do
was
you
more
mean?
like Triple H is
well,
really
Triple H
like,
is his son-in-law.
well, no, but I'm saying like very equal and kind of like yeah.
Like, you know, all those times that he comes back to these WrestleManias.
It's a conversation between those two. Or
Yeah,
something?
and it's not McMahon pressuring him. McMahon would be like, "Well, I got some stuff. If you want it, come on. If not, no." And then he's the one that sits at
cool
home.
if you're cool kind of thing.
Yeah. So you would think it would be McMahon. Oh, come back, and we'll make all
It's
this
a
money.
different relationship than you'd assume.
Yeah, it's more like father-son than I really thought it was going to be. I thought that was kind of interesting. Huh, Bill?
Yeah, he's the one guy all these decades that didn't leave.
Yeah, and he could tell
He
McMahon
went
what he
with
wants.
Vince.
and
He
does.
stayed loyal to Vince, and Vince is probably values loyalty as much as anyone you'd ever. I mean, particularly loyalty to him.
because McMahon's a psycho.
He's probably part mafia. That's probably why.
Dude, that's wild.
He thinks he's got the wrestling mafia.
Yeah, dude.
But as far as like Bill said, it was too long. I give it about a 6. I really, the Yokozuna. What did I give it? 8 or 9?
Yeah, you were high on
Yokozuna covered his whole career. It covered
also
all
gave you
the
a lot more
things.
out of the ring stuff. That
Yeah,
you love.
yeah. And while this one is just more of him, just I don't know. I'm gonna retire. I don't know. It's like, goddamn, just pick away. By the 4th episode, I was like, did he retire yet?
So does an Undertaker make your top 10 list?
See, before
I
Bill,
love what you got. We got a new segment for next week. I need top 10 lists out
I
of
don't
both
think
of you.
See, here's the problem with Undertaker.
This
A
is
lot of
great.
people put blinders on. The first Shawn Michaels match of him and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, people take his career from there. But you got to look and older stuff. He wrestled a lot of shitbag matches.
Man, I love Steve
And even-
BB's criteria.
Because like he was at WrestleMania, he was wrestling Jimmy Snuka,
right.
the Boss Man.
All right, listen, hold it
And
for
they
next
weren't good
week.
matches.
We found a new segment.
Oh.
I want top 10 lists from you and BV.
Oh, that's gonna be hard.
And I want you guys to go through it. I can't wait for this. This is going to be
You
fantastic.
know how different these lists are going to be.
I don't
Mine
care.
would be WWF
Because-
eccentric. His will be a lot more outside of WWF.
I don't care.
Well,
I
well,
want
it won't,
top
like-
10 lists.
No tag teams, just
And
single
I
wrestlers.
probably won't.
It doesn't
include
matter.
I probably won't include Undertaker in a top 10 because
That's so hard.
he spent so much of his career outside of the title picture.
This is
So-
Yeah. Well, it's not all about titles. Like I know Mr. Perfect being my top 10. I love Mr. Perfect.
Well,
Fucking-
that's just because, yeah,
that-
okay. So this is.
that-
So are we talking about top 10 favorite, top 10?
It's
best?
your
I mean,
list,
what?
BV. Stop trying to
I'll
like.
give it the top 10 I just like.
Yeah, that's,
And it's not going to
Well,
have
so
Hogan.
I
and
can make
Flair on it.
top 10 lists of all of these different times.
I'm telling you, you guys sit down with a pen and paper, and you both old school enough. Yeah, sit down with pen and paper.
Can I
and
just
give
type
me-
it on the notes?
I don't care. Either way, no. I want you both to bring out a piece of like spiral bound notebook.
legal pad.
Because I
he
also
doesn't want us to see each other's
yeah,
lists
there you
before.
go. So yeah,
Oh,
next
good
week we're gonna go through Steve and BB's top 10 wrestlers, and I want to watch you two go toe to toe with it because this is gonna be fascinating.
It's going to be different. We'll get a couple of the same, but it's not like the most popular
it's gonna be
people
so
think it
fun.
is. All right, so let's move on from wrestling in the last round.
It creeps
Oh,
in
Bill
on
didn't
this
give
show.
it a score. What do you
Oh.
want to say, Bill?
You know, it should have been a good 9, but
Yeah.
it turned out to be. I think the Steve 6 is appropriate here.
Yeah. It was a real bummer. Like I said, Yokozuna and the Andre the Giant documentaries were way better.
Oh, that Andre one, man.
Andre was good. Yokozuna was good. This one's kind of So, anyways. All right, now I think we all saw this one this week. This is on the HBO Max.
All
This is-
three of us, BV even.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Wow.
This is Judas and the Black Messiah. And Gabe Wigington also watched
Oh,
this
okay.
because he had a snow day and he was at home doing
Oh,
nothing
okay.
today. So, well, since everyone else seen it, let's start with you, Charles. What did you think of Judas?
All right.
Since we just
so
went off on
let-
wrestling for a
Let me
half
tell
hour.
you, let's get off Steve's Mount Rushmore because I can't wait for next week. It's going to be riveting. It's going to be a 4-hour long show. You two
We'll
can't
argue
choose.
over our own 10.
I can't wait. So this is...
There'll be no female wrestlers on my list. Just so you know, there'll be none.
I could do a separate top 10 list.
Okay, you both need to calm down.
Sorry.
Focus. That's really
Sorry,
focus.
sorry.
So it's called Judas and the Black Messiah, HBO Max. It's supposed to be released in the theater as well as coupled with HBO Max at the same time. It stars the scrawnier guy from Atlanta, and then he's also off of Get Out. And it was a little bit of a different premise. It took place in the Chicago chapter of the Black
In
Panthers.
the 70s. Oh, late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, and it basically chronicled how the feds had infiltrated an up-and-coming chapter of the Black Panther movement in the U.S.
Led
And-
by Fred Hampton, right? Is
yeah,
that his
Fred
name?
Hampton is the main guy. And it basically showed how the Rat worked with the feds and then kind of that chronicling that journey. I got to tell you, I struggled with this one again. I don't know, man. To Steve's point, I texted him earlier in the week. I'm checking the time on this. This is a slow burn, too. I don't know what's going on. We're 2 and change here. We're 2 hours and 10 minutes. Maybe I'm developing ADD as I get older. Maybe I need 30-minute TV
You guys are
shows.
sounding more and more like Steve.
Dude, I am struggling. I'm like, dude, it is because I could see what was happening. It was just to get to the meat of it. I was like, okay, man, like there were some straight up soldiers and stuff like that in this movie that were pretty captivating. And like the one chick went out in a blaze of glory. And I mean, there was some definite moments, but like I also didn't believe the main character, the guy from Atlanta. And again, I'm remiss, I don't know his name, but like his acting didn't seem that like his like whole like angst about it wasn't that captivating to me. I don't know. Obviously, I'll throw it to you guys for your opinion, but I am not hyped on this movie either.
Oh, wow.
I also thought that the guy who played the Fred Hampton was very good. I'll tell you that
Yeah,
with his
he was-
speeches and his motivation and all that
I
kind of
thought
stuff.
He was really good.
His woman that came up pregnant, I just didn't care. Landry from Friday Night Lights played the Fed. I didn't care.
He's also he's a Fargo guy. When I see him.
He's all over the place and
He's
a
in
lot
a
of
lot of
stuff.
stuff.
So, Steve, what is your thoughts?
I like historical stuff. I'll tell you that right now.
It was definitely played for real. Like, it was all based in...
And full disclosure, I don't know a lot about the Black Panthers. So I thought from that perspective, it gave me a look at the Black Panthers.
But it didn't talk to you about nationally. It was
No,
very
it really
localized to a Chicago
And it also
chapter.
felt they played them more as wholesome community. Like they brought the community together.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, Black Panthers had a little bit of a violent history.
Because he was with Puerto Ricans and white trash guys and
so,
stuff.
and even in the movie, the authorities were always like, they're like the Black Klan. They're just, even though you never see it in the movie that they're violent.
Yeah, because what was it? Martin Sheen played Hoover
in a weird makeup outfit.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. But I did like it. But like you said, it drug. It had weird jazz music in between scenes. It was real loud. That makes sense. And it drug on a little bit. And the name Judas really came into play near the end. I didn't get it at first. I was like, oh, I see what they said, Judas.
You got it.
But I liked it probably a little more than you. Bill, what are your thoughts?
Shockingly, this hit me pretty good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really intense. I can see why there's some complaints about how long it went on, but I think what they were. I mean, clearly it's coming from. I mean, there's a slant to it, and I think they were trying to make a point to show that the Panthers and the people that were integral parts of the Panthers weren't really what the perception of them was.
Yeah.
And I think that they had to do a little bit more character development to do that, and sometimes it resulted in the story kind of slowing down.
Tell us a story, comrade.
Everyone was
comrade. Tell us a story, comrade.
Yeah, I mean, and my understanding of the Panthers is, okay, they certainly took a militant approach when necessary, but they were also about, about strengthening black communities and.
But they really didn't show that much. That was they made this Hampton guy out to be like character number one. The feds are going after it in the Chicago chapter, but like they didn't even really like explain why.
Yeah.
They also didn't go into the Crowns, the other like black militant group that was in Chicago.
Yeah.
They didn't explain their beef.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I just was completely not into it. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was less about the Chicago chapter, or the Illinois chapter, excuse me, in Hampton so much as it was, because I think he was also like the deputy director of the national chapter at one point too. But I think it was kind of more about painting the picture of this is what the Panthers were really about. These people were, they were militant because they felt they needed to be, but they were also about taking care of their own and whatnot. And I think that the whole purpose of the movie was to show sort of was to show the government as being, just the racist oppressors. And I think they made that story pretty well, that they were going to get rid of them no matter what. And, whatever it took to do so. And I thought that some of the development that they could have developed the Crowns thing a little bit more. I don't know anything about the Crowns, so I don't
and then
know
they're paying him to get
from.
out, but then he didn't get out, and then I had issues with this movie. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so Bill, what is the grade you'll give Judas and the Black Messiah?
I'd give it a 7.
Okay, Charles?
I'm going to hit it with a 5.
Wow.
I gave 4s to the other movies. This one's slightly better. But I do like the reveal at the end of like how it was played for real, and then they explained how the girlfriend or the wife or the girlfriend who got pregnant, and then when her son went on to, that was kind of interesting, but that was 2 minutes at the very end. I don't know. And then the fact that the main guy killed himself after it aired and stuff, that was neat, but like, man, give me 2 hours of my life back.
I a little bit agree with Charles. It needed some editing. It needed to move around a little faster and maybe even cover some different subjects and explain some things. But
Did you guys like the main actor, the kid from Atlanta, too?
Which one is that?
The scrawny guy, the rat who ends up going to be the security guy.
I thought he was all right.
He didn't do very good.
I thought the other guy was better from Get Out.
He was very good. Yeah.
So I agree with Bill. I give it a 7 out of 10 too.
Yeah.
By far, it's the best one out of HBO Max so far. But the bar's not very high. I'll tell you that
if
much
you
right
had
now.
spent $20 at a theater,
that'd be
you'd be a little.
This is
annoyed.
definitely Family Video is still open. I haven't rented it. But so there you go. Now, it finally finished up this week. Bryan Cranston trying to get another Walter White type role. This is a one and done series. It's called Your Honor on Showtime.
Oh, so they wrapped this whole thing up.
Yeah.
Oh.
10 episodes. It wrapped up. Basically, Bryan Cranston's son. Bryan Cranston is a judge in New Orleans. It is funny. Someone did mention no one has a New Orleans accent in the whole show, but it takes place in New Orleans. And the guy's son hit and kills a kid on accident in his car and leaves the scene of the crime and lets the kid die. Kid happens to be a mob boss's son that ends up dying. And then, of course, shenanigans happen from there. Bryan Cranston's trying to cover everything up and trying to save his son's life and blah, blah, blah.
He knows this isn't good.
Yeah, he knows it's not good. It was 10 episodes. And I know I say this a lot, but it did kind of drag. A lot of characters made a lot of... It's one of those shows where it's good, it's acted well, and it's very tense, but it's sometimes, a lot of times in certain episodes, characters will make decisions. You go...
The Rami Malek character got in the car with Jared Leto.
Yeah, there's a lot of those, especially his son. Like his son starts dating the mob boss's daughter. It's like, why would you do that? Or
he knows at that point that the mob boss's kid is who he blew out, right?
Yeah, he knows. So he finds her on social media and then goes to a vigil for the son and starts dating the sister. I was like, why would you even do that?
Yeah.
So the son kept doing stupid thing after stupid. And
it was the Yellowstone character you described, the one guy in Yellowstone who's always screwing up.
And even Bryan Cranston himself did some dumb things. So the car that was in a car accident, instead of disposing of the car himself, he calls his buddy, hey, can you have someone come down and steal my car?
Wipe a car.
Yeah. It's like, why would you do that?
Nothing will go wrong here.
Yeah. And, of course, it all goes wrong, and this kid ends up dead. It was a good show. And he was like early season Walter White is what he was. He wasn't full-blown. So he was in, like, the first two seasons.
Still making errors.
Yeah. And it gets kind of a karma kind of ending. So it was pretty decent, but through 10 episodes, there's a lot of dumb decisions by a lot of characters where you're like, why would he do that? That is just so stupid. Especially him being a high-end judge and knowing how how shit in court cases works and stuff. And yet he still does dumb shit.
He understands the evidence flows.
Yeah. Like, you might play it off his son being an idiot, but him, it's like... So, but even with that being said, this is a solid 7. I enjoyed the show. I don't regret it, but I don't need a second season.
Is it one of the better shows available to you on Showtime?
Yes. After, especially when I get to the next show.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the best on Showtime because Shameless is falling apart quickly. My wife's watching that, and so there you go. Your Honor, Bryan Cranston. It's only 10 episodes. If you have Showtime, the Showtime app, you can watch it. It's very tense, so you'll enjoy that, but there are some dumb decisions by some of the characters. So, Charles, like we said with Judas and the Black Messiah, I do like historical things, historical movies and stuff like this. This movie, Showtime is over for 2 on historical things for it. If you remember about a month ago, I watched that thing with Ethan Hawke where he's a Civil War general after the Civil War. He's trying to go down to the South and free slaves, and I trashed it.
It was so good, I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was something bird, lady bird.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was awful. I don't know what they're doing. So now the Kelly Gang is a gang back in the early 1900s in Australia, apparently, even though the description said in Irish people. I was like,
I actually know of it. I know of the Kelly Gang from the 6 Degrees show from Mike Rowe talked about the Kelly Gang. So I know. And they get held up in the log cabin at the end and all that stuff like that, how they die?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because let me tell you what the Kelly Gang movie is. I'm going to tell you, this is a movie with Russell Crowe, Charlie Hunnam, the guy from 1917, the main actor in that one, and Nick Holt. He's the guy that played young Tolkien in that new Tolkien movie. I don't know if you've seen
him, yeah.
So 4 pretty good actors are in the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. So, yeah, it's called The Kelly Gang, but at the beginning of the movie, the kid's only like 12, the main leader, and most of the movie's him dealing with his nutty-ass mom. And then, like, they don't become a gang until almost an hour and a half into the movie, and it's only a 2-hour movie.
So you got 30 minutes of organized crime?
I don't care. I turned it off with the bed. It was so terrible. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. This movie gets a 2.
Is it okay? So let me ask the question here.
What?
Would Steve watch this movie or the Capone movie?
Oh, my God.
Which one does Steve
That should
watch?
be torture at Guantanamo Bay. I'd probably go with this one because at least there's one scene where Russell Crowe ran. So the Kelly Gang, the guy, his father dies when he's like 12 or 13. The mom's just a hooah and starts dating all these random dudes. And one of them is fat Russell Crowe with a giant beard.
Okay.
And she sells her son to him
Okay.
to have him go on the road with this guy and become a man. And this guy ends up, Russell Crowe's just a dick. He just robs and kills people is all he does. And so he's kind of teaching him that. And he hates Charlie Hunnam for whatever reason. And Charlie Hunnam's like the local sheriff. And he just shoots Charlie Hunnam in the leg for no reason. But that's the highlight of this movie. It is terrible. If Showtime makes any kind of period piece, do not watch it. It's terrible. I'm telling you.
So this was made with all that star power specifically for Showtime?
Yeah.
Or did they buy a movie?
I don't know what happened. Someone took a dump and sold it to Showtime and said it's the Kelly Gang. I don't know.
What'd you give it out of 10? A
2. It's only because I liked when Russell Crowe was fucking with Charlie Hunnam. That's the only reason it gets a 2. It was terrible. So, Bill, I hope you had better luck than me by watching some stand-up this Valentine's. What did you watch, Bill?
Well, I watched, and I don't think this is new. I think it's from 2020. It's not particularly new, but I hadn't seen it, so stopped and watched it. On Netflix, a comedian named Tom Papa.
Very funny dude.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen his stand-up before, but
very smart, intellectual. Yeah, very good.
Called "You're Doing Great," and he's kind of an older guy, so my guess is he's probably maybe early 50s, late 40s, early 50s. Kind of and based in the family, and it was he's kind of an intellectual. It was like an observational thing, and the general kind of theme was be optimistic because as bad as things seem, they're really not that bad after all. And he'd kind of point out things that would be how it could be worse. Like he's talking about this people getting too into things about the about fitness and whatnot. He's saying, like you see the before and after pictures. I always like the before guy. He goes, he looks a little chubby, but he also looks like he has a box of donuts and a lot of friends, kind of thing. So just kind of pointed thing, and he's kind of points to things. And he kind of takes it in the family, and talks about issues as well. And he talks about he has like a mean girl daughter, and so it's not like we spend so much time focusing on how bad things are, but in actuality, they're really not bad at all, and they're okay. And it's sort of like, well, you're okay, so you want to feel better about yourself, turn the news off. And so it's not like a punchline thing. He sort of just makes these observations, and there's like a little humor to it, a little truth to it, and then it was kind of like, and it wasn't completely clean, but it was mostly clean. Like funny guy. I thought it was really good. I wouldn't put it, say, in the category of it wasn't the same experience as, say, watching a Bert Kreischer, or a
two
Dave
totally
Chappelle.
different type of energy there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't quite put it in that category of I watched a Bill Burr afterwards, like one that I hadn't seen before, but I'm sure you guys have.
Paper Tiger?
And so and probably reviewed before. I'm sorry?
Paper Tiger?
Yeah, that was it. And so I wouldn't put him in that category, but I'd say he's kind of right there underneath. I mean, he kind of, a little bit of a throwback to the kind of comedy that we would talk about in the 90s. It's sort of like when you thought everyone had, we would point out someone like Sinbad that could be funny without everything being some kind of a dirty swear fest. And so, I thought it was pretty good. I'd give it a good 7.5.
He's kind of in between, Tom Papa's kind of like a Jerry Seinfeld and a Bill Burr had a baby, kind of in between there. Not as hardcore, like irreverent as Bill Burr, but kind of intellectual like Seinfeld can be. He also funny enough, he's really funny on Rogan. I don't know if you ever heard him on there at all and stuff like that. He's a really funny dude. He bakes all these comedians bread. Tom Papa sends them bread loaves all the time. Really funny dude. I tend to like him, so I'm glad to hear BB enjoyed him. So anything's better than that. Special? I haven't seen this special, but I know of Tom Papa. He's a really funny dude. And anything's better than that one stand-up that BB recommended with that terrible Australian lesbian shit.
Yeah, this is nothing like that at all.
I would agree with him on Tom Papa, though. I really like him. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, points out something about people, with your outfits. Looks like looks like you see someone in their outfit. It looks like they picked it out. They have choices. They have more than one. He was like, people back in, back in cavemen days or whatever, because they only had one outfit. And, he's like, and if they looked uncomfortable, it's like they're wearing burlap underwear. And it's just kind of, it wasn't like like smacking your face funny, but it was kind of one of those, it's going to be little clever statements, and I dug it.
Yeah, I like Tom Papa.
I'll have to watch it. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I think he's a funny guy.
All right, now we go to my animation corner. This isn't a new one. This has been around a while, but I tell you what.
Get some chips for Steve's animation.
Yeah, when you don't have football or any kind of sports, and you just want something in the background when you play video games or you're drawing, I think this, on HBO Max, they have every season of Robot Chicken. And they're only like 11 minutes an episode. It's a great thing to throw on the background. If you haven't seen Robot Chicken, it's just like these stop-motion animation toys that they do like pop culture jokes and stuff over and over again. Usually,
it's the old thing from Wizard Magazine where it's they take toys and do irreverent things with them. And Seth Green was attached to it.
Yeah, and he does it. And I'm telling you, just put it on while you do something, then look up. Oh, that's pretty funny, and then go back. It's the perfect show to binge in the background while you're doing
Mongo
something.
Theater or something like that.
Huh?
I want to say it was called like Mongo Theater or something like that.
In Wizard? Yeah. Robot Chicken, a lot of fun. It's been around for years. It's been on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. If you're bored and want something, HBO Max, turn it on. Check it out. It's not that it's not no like groundbreaking animation or anything like that. It's just a bunch of dorks making stupid jokes. One was a Transformers getting rectal exams. Just stupid stuff like that. So I like it. It's dumb humor, but football off season, you got to find things to binge.
Yeah, you start looking.
And there's only so much Naked and Afraid I can watch.
And there's only so much of the Batman the Animated Series I can watch. There's been a handful of those later episodes. I was struggling. I was like,
did
oh
you
my
notice
God.
like the first season's like 60 episodes?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then the other ones are like 20 each. I'm like, what?
I
Why
hit
is
those
this-
Mad Hatter episodes, and I was like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not a big fan of those.
There's a handful of them. What about the one where he gets amnesia and he's in the gold mine?
Yeah, that was a
So
bad.
bad.
one,
I was like, Jesus.
too. All right, now we're going to play a new game, guys. And I'm going to give you a TV show that's being canceled. And you're going to tell me if it's too soon, they should keep going, or it's overdue, it needs to be canceled. How about we do that? So the first up, now most of these get their last season, which is this spring or maybe coming in the fall. So 2021 is going to be the last year for all these shows that are popping up. The first one is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Season 8 on NBC, will be their last season this
Originally
spring.
on Fox.
Originally on Fox, made the jump to NBC for a couple years. Bill, what do you think? Do you think it's about time, or they need to keep it going?
I love this show, but I do think it's probably about time. A big,
What season number is this? I don't want to interrupt.
8.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was a significant difference in the show since Chelsea Peretti left.
Which character was she?
She was the secretary.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And the Jake and Amy thing, once they were married, it kind of took some of the humor away from it a little bit. I mean, I still like the show, but I don't have a problem with it ending after this season. I think it's been on long enough.
Charles, you agree?
I think the show should have ended 6 seasons ago.
Wow, Jesus.
This was not good. It started to fall apart very quickly. You got the premises of it, and it beats it to death. There's no Jim and Pam with the, like you said, the Amy and the Andy Samberg character. I watched a ton of the show, and I regret every bit of it. Tons of likable people in it. Terry Crews is in it.
Yeah.
The one guy who plays a smarmy friend who's always like, Jake, whatever you need, Jake. Yeah. Really
And I like the police chief, too. He showed
Yeah.
up.
Joel
There's-
Truglio.
Yet somehow the wrapper of it's terrible. I don't know what to tell you. Like the premise of it, even the two bumbling old school guys could be funny, but like I just didn't care. It was one of those shows that would show up on my DVR that I kind of I was like, I guess I watched this week's episode.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, on a half hour, there'd be a couple laughs, and then it's like,
Yeah.
all right, this is over. I agree with you.
The
I've
best
never liked the
part
show
was
all that
when
much.
old boy from the league would show up that played old girl's fiance. Oh, what's his name? With
The dude that played Rafi. And,
Yeah,
somebody.
Rafi show up. Yeah, he'd play old girls. Sounds like BB really enjoys it.
I watched it all the way through.
Even on the jump to NBC and everything. Wow.
Craig Robinson showed up on occasion.
Yeah,
He's
he's
so
like
good.
He
he's
was Doug Judy, the Pontiac Bandit.
tons of
Bill
great
loves
talent.
it
Yeah, he
all.
really is into it.
Yeah, and the Mayhem guy was on too. He kind of took over as the captain while Andre Braugher was. He lost his job because he was in that rivalry with the captain, the one that became the.
Jeez, BB, it's the one show BB's
lady.
way into,
Yeah.
man.
Hey,
I
we
knew
watch-
Bill-
we watch
go
it pretty
deep
much
dive
every
Brooklyn
week.
Nine-Nine.
yeah, wow, dude, he's on the
I do. There
fan
are some
boards and
shows I
everything.
watch a lot of.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. All the talent in the world, like Steve said, out of a 30-minute show, I got a couple chuckles out of it. It just wasn't as good as it could have been. It never was the replace to The Office that I think it could have been, is what I would say. And it's one of those shows, much like Superstore and all that kind of stuff. Everything I'm judging by The Office. It's just The Office is such comedy gold to me, and like it feels like I judge everything on that now. So maybe it's not its fault.
I judge it on The Office or Parks and Rec.
Yeah, and then
those-
Parks and Rec. Yeah.
So my compass must be off here because I'm. This is another thing. It's sort of. I never got into The Office.
Oh,
I'm not sure exactly why, but
I
that
get you.
show is
Some
so
people
good
probably
to
don't
me.
like it.
I don't know what it just everything about The Office.
Something's in my eye. It's
Steve's stroking out. Dude.
All right, yeah. All right, next up on the SyFy Network, season 4 will be the last season of Wynonna Earp. We'll start with Bill because I know he's a big fan. Should this go or should it stay,
First of all,
Bill?
BB, tell me what this is.
I heard SyFy, so I think the entire channel should be canceled.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is like a Wyatt Earp as a woman.
Yeah, I'm
Otherwise,
guessing.
I have no
But
idea.
why on
and do not
SyFy?
care.
Steve's really got diabetes eyes
no,
or something.
something's itching. It's weird.
Oh,
It's driving me
man.
nuts.
I got a cat. He's allergic to cats.
Charles, anything on that?
I don't even know what it is. Shockingly enough, but if it's not Battlestar and you say SyFy, I'm out. It's much like The Office.
Boy, does SyFy need Battlestar back because there's nothing been on there since. Next up on Hulu, I watched the first season. And I think Charles watched the first two.
Yeah.
The Shrill with the girl from Saturday Night Live.
80 Bryant.
Amy Bryant. She
80.
plays 80. Sorry,
Yeah.
God forbid she has a normal name.
Yeah.
She plays some kind of blogger of some sort in Portland or something along that lines. I got bored after the first season, so I'm going to say goodbye. But it's ending after season 3. Bill, what are your thoughts? Keep it or say goodbye?
It didn't intrigue me in the first place, so I never watched it. So as far as I'm concerned, it can go.
And Charles?
This is one of those shows, and I talked about it in my review of it, that's written, but no one lives like this. And it's basically what it boils down to. If I had Hulu, I'd probably watch it. But am I going to be bummed that it's not coming back? Hell no. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's just one of those shows like Steve said. It's the end of football season. You've got Hulu, turn it on.
Next up, now this is probably my biggest surprise on here, just because this is the new It girl here. She was in that Lovebirds with they've really promoted her a lot.
But she's
movies
getting a
and
new
stuff.
vehicle, I believe. They're sending her into.
So the name of the show is Insecure on HBO. What is her name? I can't think of her name.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
If you see her, you'll be like, oh yeah, her, because they try to
is
stick
the
her in
It
everything.
girl, like Steve.
Are you talking about Issa Rae?
Yes. Yep. Her show's ending it'll be over the spring after season 5. Insecure is over. Bill, keep it or get rid of it.
Yeah, this isn't my kind of show, so I guess get rid of it.
And Charles?
I know exactly what Steve's talking about. People are way into it. I never even turned it on. I couldn't even tell you. You can cancel it.
All right. Next up, Charles's favorites. Season 6 is the final season of Peaky Blinders with Cillian Murphy is his name.
Yes.
And then the other guy with the mustache.
Thomas
the
Shelby.
Bill, keep it or say goodbye to Peaky Blinders.
You know, I've never heard of it before. I don't know anything about
Charles
it, but
is
then
so
I just
offended
looked.
with you right now.
But then I just looked it up. A notorious gang in 1919 Birmingham, England.
amazing.
They have razors in their hats.
That
Like,
looks
it's so
kind of
good.
interesting. It's Netflix.
Yeah. But it's a BBC 4 or something original.
Well, the good news is
I
even with
may
it
have to give
canceled,
that a
you'll be able to watch all 6 seasons on Netflix.
Yeah, I may have to give this an episode or two. So I don't know.
It's going to be slow initially,
opinion.
though. Be forewarned. It's got that Breaking Bad kind of vibe to it.
It's
where
a
you gotta get it
BBC
going.
show. They all start slow.
Yeah.
And Charles?
You already talked about it. I love this show. This is like on my top.
So
10
would you want a
list.
season 7 if they did?
Yeah, I want season 6 if I can get it right now tomorrow. This show's great. I love this show. 10 out of 10. Love the show.
Oh wow! Next up, the show that I've seen 5,000 commercials for but never watched in my life, Animal Kingdom on TNT. It's
I thought
about
there was a park in Orlando.
I believe Dennis Leary showed up in this show. About white trash family. I think they sell drugs and stuff and crookedness. Ends in season 6. Bill, what are your thoughts? Animal Kingdom, any interest?
Oh, this isn't actually like a remake of the Animal Kingdom where they like showed animals on them.
I'm pretty sure it's like a white...
And I'm not trying to be funny. I honestly had no clue.
It's a white trash family. I think they basically get into everything, drugs and everything illegal.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like my kind of show, but I'm a complete what on this. So yeah, sure, go ahead, cancel
it. Charles?
I'm with BB. I didn't even know what this was. I have no clue. I like Dennis Leary. I like Rescue Me. I don't know what that has to do with this conversation, but
I don't know why. I end up watching a lot of TNT. It must be during tournament time, or I watch a lot of Star Wars.
What is it? What is that with Kira Sidgwick or whatever? The Closer. You watch that too on TNT?
No. I don't watch TNT shows. I watch like if Star Wars on TNT. I'll watch
on TNT.
NBA sometimes is on there, but you'll see if you watch it, you'll see 10,000 commercials for that thing. Next up, the big disappointment of Ducktales. This show annoyed me because I never knew when it was on, and then it was just drawn weird. I'm not upset to see it go. DuckTales is going bye-bye. Bill, any thoughts?
Yeah, DuckTales I thought was really cool when I was a teenager. I just can't see. I couldn't see watching it in my mid-40s. I guess I just don't have that kind of. But yeah, I don't care. And I certainly wouldn't keep Disney to watch it either way.
BB's sitting down as a grown ass man watching DuckTales. I'd love to see that.
It's not. Yeah,
BB can't do it. No. This was terrible. Bobby Moynihan, I love him. I think he's a funny dude, but this is terrible. I thought it was a bad reboot. No.
And then another show that jumped from network to network was on ABC, then went to Fox because Fox is conservative, I guess. Last Man Standing with Tim Allen will end this spring. The conservatives will no longer have a sitcom to watch. I didn't think the show was all that bad, but it could end. It's fine. Bill, what are your thoughts?
I used to watch this pretty regularly back when it was on ABC.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad of a show.
Well, yeah, but I liked it. But then a couple things happened, particularly with this. So first, after they went through like the 5th character change, and they only have 7 characters on the whole show,
the daughter
that became a bit of a problem.
Than Becky and Roseanne.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 daughters changed. I think one of them changed more than once.
Yeah.
But then when it went to Fox, the problem that I had with it is it was a show where Tim Allen, he had his little conservative, bent, and he made his comments here and there, and he was just a crotchety kind of older guy that was whatever. Once it went to Fox, I got through about half a season, and it became just like an unabashed like platform for Tim Allen to make freaking a conservative commentary and whatnot, and it just ruined the show completely. And the fact that they were on like the 5th version of the 3rd daughter. So I'm happy it's off the show now.
Before I go to Charles, though, I have to ask, how upset are your parents that the show's ending?
I have no idea whether they watched it or not.
And Charles, your thoughts?
I've never watched an episode of it. I know of it, but it's just completely off my radar. I don't have an issue with Tim Allen. I liked Home Improvement back in the day, but like, do I want to see him in another cheesy sitcom? I'm not going to watch that Kevin James one where he's in NASCAR. There was a time when they were great, but I never watched it.
Funny enough, this is that time of year where I'd watch the show because it was on CMT all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'd be flipping through on a Saturday, another dude just drawing or whatever. Last week I'll leave that on. Just play episode after, and each episode would be a different actress playing a daughter.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
The channel, no.
I just left it on and walked away. Next up, the one Michelle and I really like is ending in season 4, The Ozarks. This is basically Netflix Breaking Bad. The way the story's going, I don't know if you guys watch the show. It probably should at the end of season 4 because they've escaped narrow, death-defying things 3 seasons in a row now. So the 4th season should wrap it up. I like Jason Bateman, but this should be ending. Bill, what do you think?
I thought it was an unrealistic, cheap imposter show. I got through maybe half the 1st season and stopped because it was ridiculous. So no, I'd get rid of it.
Whoa. He's got thoughts on this one. I like Jason Bateman much like you said, but I just never watched the show. I don't know.
Yeah,
No.
it's basically Netflix's Breaking Bad. It is kind of a ripoff. And then finally, Lost in Space, another Netflix one, season 3. The problem with this show is like 2 years in between seasons. The kids are going to be fully grown by the time the show ends. It needs to end. I'm shocked it made 3 seasons. Bill, what are your thoughts?
It needed to be left in the 60s or 70s where it was originally made. There's no point in bringing it back to reboot it or whatever. This is get rid of it.
I watched the first episode when it came back on Netflix, curiously, because I have a SyFy hole. This is terrible. That show, I don't know how you got that deep into it, that you knew this much about it. Oh, it's terrible.
I don't know why. So, there's a look at shows that are being canceled right
well,
now.
Let me ask the question then, too, to Steve. Do you have any shows on the list that are in your head that should be canceled?
Well, the one that's not on the list that is ending in March is Superstore. I feel like that shouldn't be canceled. I think they should keep going.
I think there's
on that
enough
one.
going on there. You don't need
you have enough
Ferrera.
other actors that you don't have to
It's
worry
a
about
bummer
American
that it's
Ferrera.
going away, yeah.
So that's one. Other shows? I should screw up my wife.
You say the Goldbergs all the time, too.
Oh yeah, they're on the
you
list.
tell me that all the time. You know,
I would argue maybe Blackish should be on that list.
Dude, Blackish doesn't need to cancel. Why is he? What
It's running its course.
Oh, shut up! I hate you. You only do that to dig at me because you're an asshole. It's the best show on
I
television.
think everything on Discovery should be canceled.
Fucking, I would have nothing to watch. It'd be
The
real
1,000-Pound Sisters.
cheap. Dude,
should
don't
be
you
canceled.
dare! The Slatton sisters.
Them
She
and
came
their-
out as pansexual.
What is that, by the way?
I mean, she loves pans. I don't know. what's
She
going
wants to
on.
have sex with Pam.
I don't know, but yeah, the one I always thought of was you say the Goldbergs is done.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely got signs of it. Blackish, you're crazy, but like the Goldbergs has definitely got signs where it's like how he's a senior now. He was the youngest brother, like and they're off to college, but somehow home all the time.
Yeah, they're always home.
It's a real loose premise. Real loose. BB, you got anything that should be canceled?
For different reasons though. So there was that one show that came out last year that I liked, but initially liked was the Unicorn with your boy
Walton
Goggins.
Yeah.
It jumped the shark immediately at the beginning of the second season. It's bad. And yeah, I would think they could put that out to pasture pretty quickly. Some other stuff that I know you guys don't watch. I was never a big fan of it in the first place, but my wife watches it. That show Mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Allison Janney or whatever.
Yeah.
It had kind of
Anna
already
Faris
run
left
its
the
course
show.
in the first one. Yeah, Anna Faris isn't on the show anymore, and it was on. You can only get so much mileage out of a bunch of middle-aged women bonding over AA. It just doesn't.
Bob Loves a Shola or whatever that was. That needs to be
I've never
shown.
even watched that one. I've never bothered with that one. But there's a lot of shows that are still out there. Like one that my wife even stopped watching was that American Housewife.
Oh yeah.
Where's
I can't think of-
Steve
yeah.
after that?
I don't watch
dude?
that.
That's
Which is
masturbation material for Steve.
Wow. And then to Steve's point, can Food Network could they come up with things that are kind of new? Do we have to see season 197 of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives?
Or can they put on a show that doesn't require 3 judges? Can I have just one show without 3 goddamn judges on it on the Food Network?
Yeah.
Everything needs 3 judges.
I watch Pioneer Woman still religiously. I don't know.
God.
One of the shows
Food Network and
I will-
DIY.
I will throw one show under the bus, and I don't know if I've talked about it too much. We watch a lot of those below deck shows, which is like the Real World on a boat.
Oh my! Yeah.
Those shows are getting a little much too because I haven't watched this current season. Heather was watching it, and I kind of dip into. And I don't regret not watching this season. It's one of those things where you just see all the storylines kind of come in.
Is it? Let me ask you this: is it time to put Survivor out back and put a bullet in its head?
The thing is with Survivor, they know they're long in the tooth. So they're just doing shit now. They're playing so fast and loose with the rules. Like every season, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have tokens and immunity." It's like you gotta write this shit down. You're like, at some point, I'm playing a board game. I'm like, okay, hold on.
You got like an FBI chart.
Yeah,
with
like
the ropes on
okay,
the
so
board
now
somewhere?
he's got a token and a shell. Now that equals out. You're like, dude, I don't know
Is
what's
it a puka
going.
shell? I'm not sure.
And so they're doing their best to make the game so unpredictable that way. Oh, well, if you go to Exile Island, then you can come back. But if you're at an Exile Island, you find the message in a bottle, then you go. It's like, wait, what the hell, dude? So they're trying to refresh it and do all this stuff. Still one of the prettiest shows on all of television. I say it every time. I don't know what kind of... We're going to talk about how the UFC filmed in 8K, which is crazy to me because no one even has an 8K television, but okay. That shit at 1080p is a beautiful... I don't know what cameras they use on that show, but God, I can't get enough of that.
Oh, I got two that need to be canceled. The Fox and CBS football pregame shows. Both of those should be canceled.
We talked about a refresh. This is what we did. You got enough players retiring and turning over.
Yeah, I don't know.
What about Big Brother and The Amazing Race? They should probably go.
Yes.
American Idol.
How about every singing
Voice,
competition?
America's Got Talent.
Yeah, but the problem is, guys, here's my issue with what you're doing. What are we going to watch? You guys can't start taking sickles to everything.
Anything that requires a mask and singing needs to go.
They're masking up everything. They're dancing. Singing.
Yeah, I know. It's like the mask farter.
Wait till there's going to be masked chopped. Where you go?
You know what else needs to go? 2/3 of the Gordon Ramsay shows.
Oh, man.
I'm enough with Ramsay because we're coming into Gordon Ramsay season that summertime.
Yeah.
He's going to be everywhere on Fox for the next.
Elton Brown's coming back on my Discovery Plus.
Oh, man. Well,
Good Eats the Return.
More Good Eats? Or
Yeah, Good Eats the Return.
So now we're going to go. I'm going to talk about this. I probably talked about this before, but we're nearing the end of the generation of the PS4 and the Xbox One. No, thank you. So, and one thing I loved, and now in the news, we got more fighting game news coming in. So I just wanted to go over the top 5 fighting games of this generation. If you haven't played them, these are the ones that Steve Markey recommends that you go out and play. Because I will lose to any Chinese kid on the internet, but I still love these damn things, and I play them all the time.
Not PS5, PS4.
So we're talking about current gen, not the newest
current gen.
Yeah. Well, it technically is because no one can get the PS5 or the Xbox
it's
One
not.
X.
Right.
Yeah, so there are no
only
new...
lose to...
Huh?
Sorry, will you only lose to Chinese kids, or will you lose to kids of other
Korean
nationalities?
Equal opportunity.
I lose to Korean kids, Japanese kids, Chinese kids, and American kids.
Okay,
So
I know this is.
I don't lose to Canadians.
Oh,
I don't know.
no one does. He'll claim this list isn't in order, but his number one game is right at the top.
It's in order.
Steve loves this number one game.
This one is in order. Number 1 fighting game, if you haven't played it, Mortal Kombat 11.
And if you haven't listened to the show, because Steve updates you anytime.
Yes, I love this game. Just because they took all the 80s action heroes and threw them in this game. You got Rambo, you got Terminator, you got RoboCop.
This might be your favorite fighting game of all time.
It's close.
It really is.
It's close.
It's really that good to you. You love this game.
I mean, it's up there with Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 also. But Mortal Kombat 11, if you haven't played it, you can get the Ultimate Edition for $40. Also, it transfers over to the PS5, so you get even a little more high-def spittle as people get punched, as Charles is going to talk about it on UFC with the high-def. Definitely number 1 on the list. I liked it the most. And then, ironically, number 2 on the list is made by the same company.
Just different skins.
Yeah, for me, I'm a giant comic book nerd. Comic book and wrestling, everyone knows that, and Godzilla on the side. So Injustice 2 took my favorite comic book characters and made them punch each other in the face. They added the Ninja Turtles. They added Hellboy. They added a bunch of guest characters as well, even some Mortal Kombat guys. Injustice 2, you can get it cheap now for like $20. One of the best fighting games with superheroes that you're ever going to play. Play that. Really highly recommend.
Now, this third one here, you lambasted when it came out. Did they fix it eventually?
Yes. It took them 5 years.
Okay.
But Street Fighter V is a fully functional game now.
Yeah.
It is complete opposite of when we started 2-3 years ago on the podcast. God, it's been that long already?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I told you it was a hot hunk of dung.
Yeah, it came out
This game
broken.
released bare bones. It was like, all you had was arcade, online, really, and then that was about it.
They wanted to catch the Evo crowd or whatever that was. Yeah.
Since such time, they've added almost 12 new fighters. They've added arcade. And in their arcade, you can fight Street Fighter 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like whatever one you pick, those characters that were available in 2 show up in that arcade mode. So they've added that. They've added a story mode. They've added many more modes that just didn't exist when this game launched. So if you bought this game tomorrow and I compared it to the 2016 game I bought, you'd be like, wow, this is night and day. So
different upgrade path between them? Do I got to pay for any? So in other words, if I bought the OG original in 2016, is it into Street Fighter 5 Turbo yet and all that?
Yeah,
kind of stuff?
it's Street Fighter 5 Championship Edition.
Okay.
Which is $40.
Yeah.
All total, I spent $40 originally when the game came out. Then I bought a fighter pass for like $25. So I'm $65 in for that one.
Okay.
And now on the newest fighting pass, I'll be buying that one as well. So I'll be about $80, $90, which it's just sad. But it's a good game. It ended up being a good game. And of course, I like Mortal Kombat goes for the realistic, grimy look. Street Fighter gives you that alternative cartoon comic book look. So you get best of both worlds, I think, with both games. Whatever one you're into, I like them both, so it doesn't matter to me. The one game that I wish Microsoft would have followed through and supported more is Killer Instinct. That was a great game when it came out. It's about 6 years old now, but there's a lot of characters in that, even a Battletoad and a couple guys from Gears of War in it. So
they let it kind of die on the vine, though.
Yeah, they did. It's a shame because it's a full fighting game. It's a really good game, and you just don't see them advertising or supporting it very much anymore, which is weird. So I thought that was good. Now, this last one, I almost switched out with Soul Calibur Tekken 7, but the one reason this one gets on, and I talked about it on the podcast, the game when you're playing it looks...
What game are you talking about?
This is Dragon Ball Z Fighter.
Yeah.
Came out about 3 years ago. It looks like you're controlling a cartoon when you play it. That's how good the graphics are. It's a lot of them always have like a little cell shade or a little. This literally looks like you're playing the cartoon that was on Cartoon Network. Now the problem is the single player ain't that great, and some of the modes aren't that great. But when you fight that one player, the first time you play that game, it catches you in awe. Like, wow, this is pretty cool. But then after about a day or two, you're like, all right, well, there ain't that much to do in here.
And then you also realize you're just not into that universe.
But if you're a Dragon Ball Z anime fan, I highly recommend this. The biggest disappointment this generation, and I was on the podcast when they announced this, I was excited because I love Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Basically, you got the best of Marvel versus the best of Capcom. You make teams of 3, you fight each other. It's a no-brainer. Holly loves it. Michelle loves it. If you like any kind of superheroes, you'll love it. They came out with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which is technically Marvel vs. Capcom 4, and it was a hot pile of dung. It didn't. The graphics look almost like mobile game. They had the weird. It was all based on Infinity Gems, so you could do like weird. And it was uninspired and rushed. And half the roster that was in the third and second one didn't even show up for this one because they made it all movie based. And at the time, they didn't have the rights to X-Men, so they yanked Wolverine and Magneto out of it. So this game was just a giant piece of turd, I'll be honest with you. And honorable mention, Soul Calibur, Tekken 7, and there's also a Samurai Showdown, a new one that came out with any of those games. Tekken 7, if you're a big Walking Dead fan, you can download Negan on Tekken 7. Of course, he costs money, nothing. Tekken 7 was really, they were season pass guys, way more than all of them. Yeah. Like, it was 25, 25, 25, 20. And even some of the modes were in the season pass. Like Tekken Bowling, you had to pay in a season pass to get that.
That was a big thing in all the Tekken games previous to.
Yeah, but you usually didn't have to pay for it in the previous Tekken game. So that's just a little look at fighting games.
So then give me your... I'm going to hit you with a Mount Rushmore of fighting characters.
God damn it.
I'm going to keep doing this theme at you. Give me top 4 fighting characters across any of the games.
Characters?
Whatever you... It doesn't have to be games. I'm talking about, like, give me... If you're going to make... arcade or console fighting games, give me the top 4 most like we said, like Hogan, Ric Flair.
Oh, the ones that people will recognize.
Yeah, you got to have Scorpion on one of them.
Scorpion's got to be on one. Ryu's got to be on the other, right?
Yeah.
Who else are we going to put up there? Who else is a super? When people see it, they know what that is. I'm going to say Liu Kang, especially for
Does Heihachi get on there?
Yeah. From Tekken, right? The guy with the tall hair.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You want to go Heihachi or M. Bison or some villain, right? That people would recognize instantly. Now, if you open it up to the Smash Brothers thing, then you got the Mario and stuff like that. But I don't like those games.
I'm never a Smash guy.
Yeah, so you got
Scorpion's got to be. That was the Hogan that I thought of was like Scorpion.
Scorpion, even Bill knows who Scorpion is.
Yeah.
I think Liu Kang, especially that early Mortal Kombat in the early '90s, everyone was Liu Kang. And then somehow later in the 2000s, it switched over to Johnny Cage. I'm not sure how. But Ryu is definitely. And then you want to say Ken, because Ken's the other one. But you want to throw a female up there, it'd be Chun-Li, right?
Yeah.
What about Sub-Zero?
Sub-Zero?
Well, I think Scorpion or Sub-Zero, you could do the same thing.
Yeah.
And especially in the original Mortal Kombat, it was just a color palette. So,
don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are great. You could argue one of the Killer Instinct guys were pretty popular. That skeleton one, Skeletor or Skeleton, whatever. So good I can't remember his name. But there you go. Best fighting games of this generation. Go ahead and check them out. Give them a play. Charles, in real fighting, what's going on?
Yeah, so UFC 258 took place this past Saturday. Kamaru Usman defeated Gilbert Burns in a round 3 KO, keeping his title, which is good for him. Again, I talked last week. I'd love to see the buy numbers on this. I'm going to keep digging a little deeper, see if I can find some cheese on that one. Also in the chick fight, Alexa Grasso she got the decision over Macy Barber. It just goes to show you like how I just question how many people bought this. After I saw it, I was like, okay, nothing even dynamic really happened. It just kind of was like very basic. The other thing of note, and I touched on it earlier, the ESPN worked with the UFC to broadcast this in 8K. No one on planet goddamn Earth has it.
The whole 3 people with 8K displays.
Like who's got an 8K display or even who even has like a service that can give it to your house? I don't know how you'd get it in.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk. What do you got?
So I looked ahead on this. Because I knew you were going to mention this with 8K. So I just went on to Best Buy's website and just did a search for 2K TVs.
8K TVs or 2K TVs?
I'm sorry, 8K TVs. Excuse me.
Yeah, what do you got?
The least expensive 8K TV is $2,300.
That's probably for a 55 or a 60.
That is a 55-inch Samsung, which is clearly one of their kind of closeout models. There's another one, an LG 75-inch that's on clearance for $2,400. But the average, you have a few that are in that 24 to 3,000, 2,400 to 3,000, and then you immediately jump up to the upper 3s and into 4s.
You're in the Magnolia Theater, yeah.
Quickly. Yeah. There's not a lot of selection, and
I don't know.
Like you said, where do you even get 8K?
How do you get the content to your house? Like, that's my take. Yeah. Like, I don't even know. So tomorrow, BV's like, I need this 8K hotness. I need that buttery 8K. So he runs out, gets an 8K TV. There's not a device on planet Earth that can give that content to you. So what are you doing? It's weird. It's one of those things where, like, when if you remember back in the day, as I'm a big 3D guy, like DirecTV was doing 3K or 3D broadcasts, but there was no way to get the content. It was like, how are you? Like, I don't understand. So, yeah, congratulations, guys, you did it. But no one can watch it. So cool. And then coming up this Saturday is a pretty good UFC fight night. Much like Steve and BV fight that urge for the Royal Rumble, I might fight the urge to get ESPN Plus for a month for $6.99 to get Curtis Blades versus Derek My Balls is Hot Lewis.
Oh, my favorite fighter.
This should be a good event, and that's just that alone has got my eyebrow going like. Maybe I'm gonna get that.
Get a new email, get a free trial.
Yeah, it depends on how bored I am on a Sunday night or
man,
Saturday
when you run
night.
out of Robot Chicken and Naked and Afraid, you're gonna be like, I gotta get it.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I got that same bone of BB and Steve with the Royal Rumble. So anyway, that's what's going on. One other thing of note is Dana White's fighting with Ariel Helwani.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. I called him a douche.
Yeah, because
that guy's not funny.
Who's Ariel?
He was on Pat McAfee trying to be funny. I didn't think he was
he's
funny.
terrible, and that's what basically Dana White calls him out of. Because he weirdly thinks he's funny and quirky, and it's like you're just not. You're just annoying.
That whole segment on Pat. I mean, Pat McAfee's being nice and laughing and stuff. But I was like, this ain't funny.
Yeah,
I don't know what's
he's
going
talking
on
about
here.
him being a jobber and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And he had one of his sweatshirts, but his shop set up like an extra medium shirt.
I don't know. So anyway, funny stuff with the UFC, and that's what's going on.
Yeah, because I think they were busting Dana White's balls about the pay-per-view. They not many buys, and he was like, "Well, Gilbert Burns is a great fighter. People who don't know are dumbasses." I mean, he could say that because he has $250 million in the bank, but at the same time,
yeah, when you ask people to pay what UFC wants for these pay-per-views, man, you got to come with a stacked card. And I'm not saying And you could make the argument that, much like I was talking about last week when we were talking about the hit Tiffany Haddish, maybe watch some of these up-and-coming fighters, and that sounds great. But when you ask me to pay $70 to watch two dudes lay on each other, not want to kill each other, I don't know how you justify that. And I think that it would be one thing if the bills weren't creeping up all the time. And I think that's one of the things that sours a lot of people on you're more apt to to see some up and comings, but $70 you can kiss my ass.
So there you go. A little look at the UFC. They can kiss Charles's ass because he's not paying $70. All right, finally in the news, the reason I bought that the fighting game list up is because recent news: Street Fighter V's final season pass, which I've already prepaid for. I'm a sucker for these things, guys. 5 new fighters that are going to be released periodically throughout the year. So first up on the 22nd of this month is Dan. You remember Dan?
Yes.
He had the pink outfit. Yeah. He's first up, and then there's
Jeff Gerstmann would take him and like whoop up on people online with him.
Oh, they must get so pissed because that guy's
he's a jobber, and he would show up and just house people. His Dan, funny story. He's like, I take Dan all the time. It's really funny.
Yeah. And then there's a couple from Street Fighter 3 that are coming in, and Rose is another one. And then there's another character called 11, which I thought was kind of funny because of the Stranger Things 11, but it doesn't look anything like that. Plus a couple stages you get and a couple of things. So it's final season. Like I said, the game's been out for 5 years. They're still supporting it. So they're going to move on to Street Fighter 6 now after this, and this is the last for Street Fighter 5.
But so if you were to get all the Street Fighter content, what are you all in to get all that content at this point?
Ooh, now it depends on what kind of content you want. Now
I want the full suite package of Street Fighter 5. I want all the fighters and all the content available.
Well, if you get Street Fighter Championship Edition, that's going to give you all the fighters up to this season pass. So that's about $40.
So that's $65 all in. But if you were OG original and had been buying the content,
so
all
that's 2 fighter passes at $20 each. That's $40, and then this $25. So yeah, it's not cheap to keep up on.
You're all in at like $80.
Yeah. So a little bit of a bummer, but that doesn't include all the different outfits you can get. Those are totally separate. For $3.99 each, you get like a 3-pack, or $5.99 each. Stages for $10, you get stages and stuff like that. So all that stuff that used to be free in the game now are all separate in the store, and you got to pay for it.
You can take a leak. You keep talking.
Yeah. So now the other thing coming up next is Kingdom Hearts on the PC. Now Kingdom Hearts was a PlayStation exclusive back in the day. BV. It was one of those boring-ass role-playing games, but it was mixed in with Disney characters, so people kind of liked it. And it is coming to PC on March 30th on the Epic Store. Reason why this is big news, and I know you're hot to get it, right up there with you used to play Madden and Kingdom Hearts were your top 2. Now I imagine your sister Angela might have liked a Kingdom Hearts type game just because it appeals to goth kids for some reason, or a little.
It was never a goth kid.
I mean, not goth kids, but I should say. Anyways, before I
that's your point.
The reason why this is important, though, this is more Sony exclusives coming to the PC. So I think they're starting to embrace the PC world a little more than they have ever in the past, which is unusual for them. I guess they realize it's more money they can make by selling the shit on PC as well.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Educate me. What is the Epic Store?
Epic is a company that used to make games. They made Gears of War. They made all that. They also have a software that a lot of companies use to build their video games on, and they made a whole store online like Steam. So like it's like an Apple iTunes but for video games.
I see.
And there's 2 big ones online. It's Steam and Epic Store. And you could argue maybe EA Play or something, but it's Ubisoft, but those are kind of down the line. But Epic and Steam are the top 2. If you want to play PC games, that's where you go. Because you can't buy.
Because I've. I'm sorry. I've heard of Steam, but I've never heard of Epic Store.
Yeah, basically they're newer to the game. Probably last 3 years. Would you say, Charles, 3 years?
Yeah, but it's basically all Fortnite. Fortnite is everything that got Epic. Cliff Bleszinski and Epic and Unreal and all that crap.
Unreal, that's the software people. So people like, I want to make a God of War game. I license the software called Unreal, and then I just pretty much use that software and put my God of War characters over the top of it.
Steve's missing the big one that Epic. They're the ones that are doing that cinema where they can do the green screen and render the real-time environments that they're all acting in and stuff like that.
Oh, for Star Wars and all that?
Yes, that's the
they
big.
do that?
That's Unreal and Epic that did all
they're
that.
making a chunk of change.
Yes,
on that
indeed, yeah.
So Epic has got a little bit of money. Speaking of a company with a little bit of money, Disney Plus has hit $94.9 million. They just had a big investors meeting, and they are happy with everything. Hulu, ESPN Plus, all ahead of schedule and growing. The only thing is, I've heard rumor ESPN Plus price might be going up because they want to make more profit off the ESPN brand.
So then think about that. So then what Steve just described to you, not only I just complained how much a UFC would cost, you need to have ESPN Plus subscription to buy online a UFC pay-per-view event. So imagine that price goes up, and dude, I'm out. I'm out.
You're so annoyed by that. So I guess the cancel Disney Plus when Gina Carano got fired did not affect them all that much.
Well, and for the record, I canceled mine well ahead of Gina Carano. I want to make sure that it's known.
So there you go. Now let's go back into wrestling. And while BV and I may wax ecstatically about old classic wrestling, current wrestling is falling apart in the toilet.
This is crazy.
A 0.5 rating for the last SmackDown. Fox cannot be happy with this.
I wonder if there's got to be some kind of like pressure and like some kind of requirement within that contract to say like, hey, look, you're way underperforming. There's got to be like performance metrics in that agreement / contract.
And they can't
right?
bitch about Fox not promoting them because
it was all over the place.
Yeah, they put it on during football. They put it on.
The product is just bad.
Yeah, so 1.88 million viewers last Friday, 6-month low. I mean, Fox cannot be happy with.
You guys got any takes on why? BV got any take on why that is?
Not really. I mean, I haven't been really watching the products, but I would have to think that, I mean, they're in the same place over and over again. They don't have fans. I mean, this whole digital fan thing is one thing, but they're not able to. Yeah, no, you know what? Their storylines suck.
It's just shit products.
Yeah, they've got and they're doing and I think we've talked about this before. But the one thing I think that kind of in watching the Royal Rumble sort of illustrates it, for whatever reason, they have been, I think this is going to come back to bite them if it isn't already happening. They have tried to get every single piece of every cent, every mile they could get out of old talent with names. And they haven't done an effective job of building new, young, marketable talents. You've got a bunch of people that might have been able to become stars given the opportunity, but they end up just kind of all muddled in this big, pool of insignificance.
And it's not like you would blame the wrestlers, right? Maybe the wrestlers aren't as talented. But when they're on NXT, these same wrestlers are fun to watch. They're cool to see. You want to watch them. And then they get called up to SmackDown and Raw. Like Keith Lee.
They suck all
Riddle.
the personality right
Yeah,
out.
I don't know what they do.
Well, you guys brought up that Nia Jax story when they actually had something fun and quirky
about the
happen.
whole thing and they shit canned it.
Yeah, so I don't know. Hard pressed to think it's something. It's hard to blame talent.
Well, you can't have talent that you bring in. You give them a crappy storyline. You push them. Someone will come in like Keith Lee or other guys that have come in. You push them for 2 or 3 weeks. Then they basically disappear. You write their promos for them. You require them to go through. They basically give no autonomy to the talent at all, as far as what they're saying, what they're doing. I mean, they might still do it with some of the old names or whatnot, but for the most part, everything is scripted. They don't give these guys an opportunity to show personality at all. It's like bad.
Well, it sounds like whenever anyone's personality flares up, they stomp it back down too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, that being said, right? They're also, and because I will still hear some of the news things on YouTube. Apparently, so they have announced record profits this year. That's been 2020.
I thought they were struggling. That's why they sold the network to Peacock and all that.
but you think about it, they haven't had the overhead costs from doing live shows. So there's not all the travel costs and things involved with that. They furloughed 40% of their employee staff back when COVID first hit to try to save on whatnot. And then so that apparently they're reporting record profits, but they also apparently just noted to their employees that there will be, and I guess a lot of them took pay cuts to help out with trying to keep things set. and they announced there will be no raises, no bonuses for this year.
Record profits.
And so they're that and fighting all of the
pay for that
all the
XFL
wrestlers
somehow.
over their social media accounts and whatnot. Like from what I keep seeing and hearing about, like morale is at an all-time low and super stuff's really tense, and sounds like there might be like a mutiny pretty soon.
It's these publicly traded companies, man. It's funny because like everyone's worried about the stock price and the stockholders all the time. Like they just sacrifice, and it's not just WWE. It's just like everything in general. It's like everything's about the stock price, and it's like companies in America are just so weird. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just the weirdest mentality in business nowadays, where it's like everything comes down to the stock price. It doesn't matter what the fuck you got to do. Just worry about the stock price. Where's the stock price at? You know what I mean? Like, you post can you post profits so that someone agrees with it in the stock price? Stock price. It's like, Jesus. And it doesn't help that all the CEOs are all bonused based on that performance. Of course, that's what they're going to worry about. If everything, it's crazy, man. I don't know. And the thing about the SmackDown, you're not on SyFy Network.
Yeah.
You're on a network channel, dude.
You're
You are on Fox proper, son. Like, dude, I don't know.
And you suck.
1.88.
That's terrible.
There's people with YouTube videos.
Yeah.
My daughter watches slime videos. I think
A decent TikTok gets more than that.
yeah, it's crazy.
Paul Logan.
Yeah.
The Logan brothers, Paul brothers, whatever.
Now, this next one's crazy. I don't know what's the story.
This just
here.
came in today. Now, if you remember, Vincent Jackson was a receiver for the
Big
Chargers
name,
for
yeah.
years, and then the Bucks for 5. He was reported today he found dead at 38
in a
years
hotel.
old,
I want to say too.
On top of that, he went missing for a few days. Like his family didn't even know where he was, and now he is passed away.
Some more will come out of this story eventually.
Nothing
There's gotta
sounds.
be more to this. Yeah,
Nothing sounds good.
38 pro athlete.
Yeah,
like, dude, there's some shenanigans afoot.
Yes, nothing good comes out of this story here. I don't think it was COVID that got him.
I don't know. Depends on what numbers we got to hit in that hospital.
The weird part with this is when they talk about him, like he seems like a frickin' like a Boy Scout. I mean, he's whole thing with supporting military families, and he was like a 4-time nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
Oh, wow.
Really good stuff in the community, dedicated father, husband, business. I mean, he seems like a completely upstanding citizen, but then he had checked into a hotel like a month ago or a few weeks ago.
Man.
And had been
Fentanyl, dude. Fentanyl's a big deal in America, baby.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean,
ask Michael Jackson how that works out.
No signs of any trauma or anything like that. So I mean, who knows? But yeah, it's an odd story.
Yeah, there's more to that.
He used to be one of my sneaky fantasy picks because he would get those
goddamn
like random he'd catch 3 balls but 2 of them would be like 50-yard touchdown passes.
He couldn't live in a world where Phillip Rivers was retired.
He wasn't making the haul.
Yeah, his productivity dropped when he went to Tampa.
Also, side note, more positive NFL note. Well, not really that positive, but J.J. Watt wants to go to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, weird situation there.
So Cleveland, enjoy those 4 games that he plays each year.
When that elbow explodes.
$18 million a year, 4 years.
I don't get that. Why does he want to go to the Browns?
Because he feels they're a contender and they can pay him the price he wants.
He wants probably be opposite Myles Garrett or whatever. Yeah. See his brother twice a year. Brothers,
I just asked the question. I mean, because I'm kind of.
Pittsburgh's salary cap is jacked. They got money for you.
Is he still an elite player?
For 4 games?
Should he command? Should he command like $18 million a year?
He's a huge name, BB. You got to admit, he's going to
sell
jerseys. He's going to sell tickets. I mean, there's no doubt. You sign J.J. Watt, people are listening. I don't know. That would be my.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as far as. Does that translate onto the field?
Well,
yeah.
They'll give him a season and cut his ass. That's what will happen. And Steve will get 4 games out of
4 games. That's what you get. 4 games. Yeah. Maybe you'll get 1 at the beginning of the season, 1 in the middle, 2 at the end.
All right, we got to go on to this because I need to know the backstory to this rant. Steve's rant is like the most 95-year-old.
I am. I'm so old.
Listen to this shit, BB.
I didn't read this until just now.
Yeah.
So Monday,
Okay.
well, yesterday,
His old man ears are hurt.
it just annoyed me. I was like, so Michelle was home all day yesterday, and because of President's Day, I said, well, you're gonna cook. Cook dinner since you're home.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Get in that kitchen, woman.
I cook 7 out of 7 days.
Christ.
It's usually me cooking. So I figured you're home, you can cook. Of course, I got home.
Steak and blowjob days.
Better not wear no shoes either.
Yeah.
So obviously she didn't cook. And she's like, I had a gift card to Applebee's. Let's go to Applebee's.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, I guess we're going to eat Applebee's. So it was 5 o'clock. We get to Applebee's.
How busy is Applebee's at the
there's
time of
nobody there.
COVID?
They want to eat
What's
course.
going on?
Nobody
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Sat down immediately. No one around you for 10 feet. It's
That's
nice.
good.
Then we order. The problem
What does
was,
Steve's ordered at Applebee's? Set the mood.
Michelle got the beef dip, the sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I got that mac and cheese with the chicken on it.
Asshole, aren't you on a diet?
I'm terrible. I told you. My diet is terrible.
he worked out this morning for 20 minutes. He got mac and cheese and fried chicken.
I burnt it off. I had a salad
You're in
before.
that Bergeron diet.
I had a salad before.
He breaks even.
And I had a Diet Pepsi. I was good to go. But the worst part is it's 5 in the afternoon, and they got Club Applebee's going.
Oh, it's just booming.
It's like we're sitting at the table.
Two old people sitting there.
Yeah, she's trying to talk to me, and I'm like, I was like, why is Adam Levine?
Did you complain to the server?
I didn't say nothing,
Oh,
no.
man.
But you remember that time you and Dad went at night?
Yeah,
and it turned
it can get loud. Yeah.
This is 5 p.m. on a Monday. It's like, what are they doing? There's no one in this place. Why do you have Maroon 5 blasting through my head at 5 o'clock on a Monday? It was so fucking annoying. I didn't say nothing to anybody, but at the same time, when I left, I looked at Michelle.
You know they don't control that shit. You know someone from corporate sends out like, here's the
They
CD
control the
mix,
volume. They can go.
Yeah, but corporate dictates at night. You gotta set the mood.
It wasn't night. It was 5 p.m. It wasn't 9 o'clock at night. It was not fucking Club Applebee's time.
Oh,
I was
man.
like, I'm there getting my fucking senior meal.
Get your coffee.
I knew I was going to get ripped off and called an old man, but I don't care. I was like, I can't talk normal. I got to scream at an
Screaming
Applebee's.
across. Just text her. Across the
So how's it going today as we're sitting there
The
eating
best part is you
Applebee's?
act like you talk to your wife. That's the best part. You guys don't sit there in silence.
Just listen to each other chew.
Yeah.
No, we'd say some stuff.
We say some stuff.
We usually talk about Holly.
How's the sandwich? You like?
Yeah, it was
Good?
good. I still bite her sandwich. It was
You
delicious.
bite her sandwich on top of the mac and cheese, you asshole. Get your ass on that scale.
It'll explode. I don't want to get on that scale for it. So, anyways, that was my rant because it's just
Well, at the hotel, we'll in the public space crank the music on purpose because my general manager doesn't like you getting a meeting space for free. Yeah.
Wait, what?
So he doesn't want you having an interview and shit in the middle of like the lobby and all that kind of stuff. So like
Why, people do that?
Oh, you have no idea because our
Wait, so another company?
No, not another company. Typically, like an HR manager would fly in to interview BV in Chicago, and we might be attached to the airport. I don't know. I don't know where I work at, and so BV's interviewer would just fly in and then say, "Hey, come down to the lobby, and I'll talk to you. We'll go through that face-to-face interview process." Well, we sell meeting space as a hotel. So they don't like when you do that because you're basically like getting over on the hotel. So like in the public space, like it's obnoxious sometimes. I'm just like, whoa.
They do that on
It is
purpose?
so loud. Yeah, like at night, we have to like turn it down in the lobby because like it'll echo through the building and like all the guests in the rooms are like, what the fuck? Like I can't. Like, can you turn that shit down? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if Applebee's is trying to deter that way or they're just trying to set the mood. But nonetheless, yeah, that's where we come to it from. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Either way, though, residents of Taylor, Michigan, stay off Steve Markey's lawn.
God damn it! Yeah, it was annoying. Yeah. Fucking Adam Levine just screaming.
How
in
many
my ear.
coupons did you guys use? And you guys
just one gift card.
So he's like, now before 5 p.m., I'm allowed to get a half off appetizer. Is that reflected in my bill? Yeah.
Did you get the senior discount?
Yeah. I mean, wow.
Hey, man, when I turn a senior, I'm gonna take that discount all the time. Yeah, I'm a senior. I'm gonna give you that discount.
Oh man, I it's been so rarely right now that we go out to eat. I don't know much of it, but I would assume someone probably screwed up or something.
Yeah,
like
most
that.
Applebee's aren't like that. Until, now, like I said, at a certain point at night, all of a sudden it becomes Club Applebee's and the margaritas start flowing and stuff. But they are always big on fucking drinks, though. As soon as we sat down, you want to try our Mucho Macho or something? I was like, well, I'm good. It's like this light blue
All
drink.
I can think of is Office Baby. He's got all like the buttons.
Yeah,
the
where's your flare?
Yeah.
36 pieces of flair.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm yelling at people. I don't yell at anyone. I just come here and complain about it. But it's just oddly loud.
How much? Let me ask BV though. How much snow did you get out your way, BV? Did you guys get hammered like we did?
No, it was actually kind of funny because we only got, I think, like 3 or 4 inches here.
Oh, okay.
But when I was talking to people from work that were in other parts of Chicagoland, most everybody got at least 8 to 12.
Yeah.
There were some areas like within a half hour from here that got like 18 inches.
Yeah, it's real sporadic with the way it hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And they say we're supposed to get hammered again Wednesday night. So Wednesday into Thursday is supposed to be bad too.
That's the only thing about this time of year. From now until end of March, everything's gonna be wet. Just your socks are gonna be wet. The bottom of your pants are gonna be wet.
Yeah.
Your shoes are gonna be wet. It's like, oh Christ!
I don't know, man.
Too loud music and everything's wet.
90-year-old man. One of the things that's impressive, like I think we got about 10 inches of snow. It's a legit snowfall. I don't know if you feel differently, Steve, but like my street was down to the pavement by like noon. I'm always impressed sometimes in Michigan. Like, this ain't nothing to Michigan. We're like, no, just bring it that snowblower, blast it out, you'll be good to go. Throw some salt down your Like, we got our shit down pat.
It is funny watching the news and how fucked up Tennessee and Texas and all them are.
Yeah.
And they're like 5-car pileups.
Texas, man, they got like issues with the power grid and shit.
Yeah. The windows
Half
freezing.
the people that I work with are in Houston. And so I'm talking to people, someone made a call late because, we haven't had power in 2 days and suddenly now water's going out.
Jeez, water? Wow.
Well, think about it, right? So we're set up to keep, up here, we're set up to keep things warm. They're set up to keep things cool. So like their main water lines are all outside the house.
Oh, jeez. So
If
freezing
like,
up kind of thing?
Yeah, I was talking to the one colleague who was on a call about some things. She said, I didn't have power the last few days. It just came on, and then the water went out. I had a call with another one, and she's like, I have to call you back. Someone just found a leak, like
Jeez.
outside, like the pipes are going. They're not set up to handle. And it was like, she was telling me that, I got up this morning, it was 13 degrees. I mean, 13 degrees in Houston is like a once in 100-year kind of thing.
Oh, well, welcome to climate change.
They're
People
not
don't want to
set up.
believe
Yeah,
it.
anyone that doesn't think it's real, Exhibit A.
I heard the wind turbines were freezing up down there, too. That's another problem.
Oh, yeah?
They said 30% of the energy in Texas is
renewables?
Yeah.
Oh.
And but they said the problem is the fucking things were freezing up.
Wow. It's crazy.
So they were rolling blackouts through cities to
and again,
energy.
to BV's point that I find so crazy, and then one of the Carolinas got hammered with tornadoes. Like, so half the country's buried in snow, half the country's getting like, what the hell's going on?
You remember Rich
man?
Rice, right?
Yeah.
He lives down there, and the city right next to his got hit by that tornado.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, like, Texas is under snow. Carolina's getting hammered. Like, this is nuts.
It's apocalypse.
Yeah.
Load up on ammo.
No toilet paper.
And toilet paper. Yeah. All right, that's going to do us for this week. Of course, you can catch us on Apple iTunes, fatguysandlittlepodcast.com, Google Play, or Spotify, even though Charles is not there.
I'm not a Spotify guy.
And, of course, you can catch us on YouTube and Facebook. And Facebook, you can catch us live randomly whenever we show up. So, until next week, this is Steve.
And Charles.
Check you next time.